Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to today's call. Happy Wednesday. Let me know when you can see me and hear me okay. I would appreciate it. If you could just chat into the comments and let me know if audio visual is good. We will get the show on the road. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Looks good, sounds good, loud and clear. Awesome. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Christy. Awesome. We will get this show on the road. Got a good amount to cover today, but hopefully, since we're getting started here on time without the as much of the introductory content, we should get you in and out of here, I think, at a reasonable time. And as I said yesterday, today will be really focused on the content and campaign side of things. And not so much on the content in terms of how to do it. I'm going to give you a little bit of foundation there. But that's a whole, separate topic, separate course if you want to get into a whole content production process. We're not going to do that here today. But we'll give you an overview, I think, of the strategic approach to your content that's going to serve you best. And then talk about really how we're going to get that content distributed out there into the world and use it to build our audience, build our attention, and generate leads for us. So we've got a few different types of ad campaigns that I'm going to walk you through here today. And these are really, particularly in a local market. So when you are, focused on, I just want to dominate in San Diego versus nationally or globally or something like that. These are really simple campaigns, and they are all that you need. They don't require a big budget. They don't require any guru level advertising status. You don't have to be some monster experienced advertiser. You just need to set these things up properly, understand why it is that you're setting them up the way that you're setting them up so that you can adapt, as Facebook makes their changes, because they always make their changes. But if you understand the why behind what you're doing, then you can easily adapt with those changes. And man, I promise you, if you get this, you'll be able to do advertising for customers if you want to, and make it easy and very straightforward to do. But most importantly, you're going to have a really solid foundation strategically as well as tactically for today's advertising environment on how to, with a very modest budget, create a whole lot of attention and a whole lot of visibility and goodwill and ultimately leads and opportunities in your pipeline by following the structure that we're going to go through here today. Okay, so let me go ahead and pull up the presentations first, and then we will jump into the actual ad manager and build some campaigns after the presentation portion. So let me go ahead and get this in presentation mode. Welcome, Charles and Linda. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Dave, good to see you, sir. Sean, John, very good. Paul. Awesome. Let's get this show on the road. The Attention Engine Bootcamp Day 2. Welcome, everybody. And we just, I'm just going to recap a few things from Day 1 briefly. If you did not attend Day 1, please make sure and go back to recordings to get a more fully fleshed out version of about what I'm about to walk you through here, because it is important. I'm not going to go through it in detail today for the sake of time. I don't want to repeat myself. I'm just going to give a little bit of a recap just to make sure as we go into discussion about these campaigns that we're, keeping some of these important foundations in mind. So first of all, the roadmap. Yesterday we covered identifying your core customer, your power messaging, specifically your value prop statement, the minimum viable sales process that you need to have in place, which is really just capture a lead, follow up, present some offers, and then Yesterday, we talked about launching your attention engine using the outbound prospecting strategies as well as tools to be able to make that outbound prospecting strategy something that is really, really effective. It has the volume of activity that you need to really make a dent out there. And then today, we're going to continue talking about specifically the attention engine campaigns and content, and then launching what I call the relationship bridge. Technically, relationship bridge, a retargeting campaign, and the follow-up sequences that you're then using. I call it a relationship bridge because I think that this is where you really establish the relationship with the prospects that you're speaking to in your campaigns and your content, and it forms this bridge between that initial cold contact and an actual sale. And that is, because as we talked about yesterday, and we'll cover a little bit about today, over the length of that life cycle of when a prospect becomes aware of you, starts considering your services, and then ultimately is making an evaluation to buy, that can take months, it can take years. And so over that time period, you've got this very efficient way of following up and nurturing that relationship, building your brand with them, building your trust with them, so that you're staying in front of them and earning what we call first position, so that when they are thinking about buying, that it is you that they're thinking of. And then an expansion strategy, that actually should not say how you'll sell them. I'll update that. The expansion strategy is how you will continue to grow with this process, okay? And what's important here is that you understand, to get this all started, you do not have to boil the ocean, okay? You can start with just a couple of ads, get the structure in place. That is the most important thing, that when you leave here after this boot camp, that you take my campaign approach that I'm going to share with you, and you put the structure in place. Because I think that that's where most of you, if you're not real experienced advertisers, that's probably where most of you get a little bit stuck, is, okay, how do I set all this up and make it go and do it right? It's not that difficult if you follow what I'm going to share with you today. And once you get that infrastructure set up, then it's really, really easy from that point forward, because all you're doing is putting a new ad into the system and then letting the system continue to do its job. Okay, so that will be the expansion strategy, is that you should have an approach to creating new content, new hooks, new angles, potentially new lead magnets as you go over time, right? And you will just feed those into this system. Okay, so that is step number 6. Core strategies, again, just to briefly take us into what we're going to cover here today. Peter Drucker, the aim of marketing is to make selling unnecessary. The way that we do that in today's world is primarily through content. Okay, content, whether it's Nike selling shoes by running the commercials with the celebrities and the people working out and the competitive juices in those commercials and getting everybody riled up and associating winning with Nike. That is a piece of content that's doing that work, right? That's that media. Or for us, it's doing some sort of webinar or dropping some sort of lead magnet in, or writing a good blog post that helps our customers understand something better, helps guide them in making better decisions at their business. It's content, right? And so the foundation of what we're going to cover here today is content, and how we get that content distributed using this very simple advertising system. So that is really what the objective is here, though, right? The objective, if we can all aim for that perfect business, a kind of nirvana state, it would be that we just have a bunch of prospects out there that are waiting for the chance to buy from us, right? That they know as soon as they have the money that it's you that they're coming to buy from, right? Now, in B2B services, I don't know that we ever accomplish that, right? We're not making luxury cars or luxury handbags or anything like that. So I don't know that people are just saving up their money and waiting for the day that they get to, spend it with us, unfortunately. But I think the closest thing that we can get to that we can hope for in the B2B sales world and what we're doing here is that we can get to the point where we have a big, broad base of prospects out there that they are at least saying in their minds, man, you know what? When it may not be time for me to sign up for these types of services right now for whatever reason at my business, but when it is time, I'm definitely going to that guy or that gal, right? They really seem to know what they're talking about. I trust them based on the content that they're putting out there. It seems solid. It seems like they're really trying to add value in their content. They've been in the game for a while, right? I can see them showing up consistently week after month, week after week, month after month with content, with offers, things like that. They're not just some fly by night, right? All of that contributes to creating this first position in their minds where they say, that's the person that I'm going to turn to when it is time. That is what we are aiming to accomplish by having content out there and having our ads out there working for us on our behalf 24/7, day after day after day. And this is absolutely critical. Content marketing is all the marketing that's left, as Seth Godin says. And the reason why he says that is because today's consumer consumes content to get informed and make decisions, right? And maybe it was always that way to some degree, right? Because we consume content from the news and from, soap operas back in the day, right? Soap operas, I don't know how many people know this. They were literally created to sell consumer companies products. So the Procters and Gambles of the world and stuff like that had this incredible new thing called television, right? And they knew that there were stay-at-home moms, typically, just stereotyping here, but definitely true of that era that were at home. They had the TV on, and they wanted a way to get the brands and their specific products into the minds of those women because they knew those women made the decisions about purchases for the household. And they realized, hey, the best way for us to do this is through entertaining them through this new box that we have so that their eyes are glued to, our products essentially during the day. And so, to some degree or another, it's always been a content marketing world, but it has so dramatically turned in that direction because of, these and because of all of the content that's getting created on these for entertainment purposes, education purposes, whatever it is, right? So, Kale says, hope you'll be talking about starting from ground zero if right now we have zero content. Well, that should not be too hard of a problem to solve, considering that I give you content every month and you've got ChatGPT now, which is pretty stinking darn easy to create content. You can have yourself a blog post in the next 5 minutes if you just, give ChatGPT a decent prompt. So it's easier than ever, I promise you. 3 core strategies driving our approach: invest in content over salespeople, invest in adding value over selling, and automate as much as possible. You're going to see all of this today really come to life. Yesterday, again, we did outbound prospecting. I tried to show you as much as possible. Here's how you should automate as much as you can, but it's still outbound prospecting. You're still getting on the phone and stuff like that. Whereas with what we're talking about here today, it really can be your 24/7 sales force just working on your behalf, which is awesome. We're going to take advantage of the VIP approach, value, interest, positioning, and proof in this content that we're creating. And we're going to create content that is designed to match the customer decision journey, right? That attraction content, the indoctrination content, and conversion content. And this is not to say that you have to be overly deliberate in, oh, geez, I have to create content for these 3 buckets, certainly not to start. And it does not mean, and I want to make sure and stress this point for the KLs out there, I want to make sure that you do not feel like you have to have all of this content created from day one, because you do not. We can get started with a couple of pieces of content, a couple of ads. And when I say content, I also want to make sure that you understand, like an ad it can be a perfectly great piece of content. Okay. This does not have to be a 3-hour long YouTube video. It doesn't have to be a full webinar or anything like that. An ad can be a great piece of content that's out there working on your behalf just on its own. So benefits are huge. Again, if you just think about, and the reason why I stress this list and just making sure that you really are thinking it through is because I know that there are still so many people in this industry that for whatever reason, maybe content sounds hard to them. Creating content sounds hard to them. Learning how to advertise sounds hard to them. Or spending money on advertising sounds hard to them. And they think, I'm just going to do it the old fashioned way. I'm just going to sell and I'm going to hire salespeople to sell. And oh my gosh, if you just sit down and compare the difference in cost, in control, in scalability, in consistency, in the brand that you're building, everything, when you take that traditional route of hiring salespeople versus doing this route that we're going to show you here today, there is absolutely no comparison. There is absolutely no comparison between the two. Hiring salespeople, managing salespeople, controlling salespeople, keeping salespeople, getting them to do their job consistently, getting them to do their job in a way that actually builds trust with prospects and helps enhance your brand rather than doing damage to your brand is really, really, really difficult in today's world. Versus content, I can record that YouTube video, I can edit that YouTube video and make sure it says exactly what I want to say and put it out there and have it seen thousands and thousands of times, right? One piece of content, one whatever, I have to put 3 hours into creating that dang thing, pain in the neck, have to do video editing, whatever. But I put it out there and it can be seen thousands of times with the exact message that I want it to say. Okay? Same with that blog post, right? There is no comparison between the two. I can turn on ads, turn off ads, increase budget, decrease budget. I can't do that with salespeople. I mean, technically there are ways that you can try and accomplish that, but it's difficult, right? And most importantly, this step number 6, differentiation. Okay. If I am competing against somebody who's just doing good old cold calling and that's their sales model still to this day, and cold email, right? And they are not adding value every day. They are not building these content assets out in the universe every day and putting them out there, right? Over time, my business destroys your business because I have all of these value add assets all over the world, all over the internet, working on my behalf. People are looking at them every single day and going, man, that guy seems to know what he's talking about. That guy seems to know what he's talking about again over here, right? And I like that newsletter he just sent me. And then there's somebody that all they're doing is focused on the transaction. I've got a competitor. All they're doing is focus on the transaction. I'm just trying to sell you something. Right? Building no goodwill, building no brand, or at least no good brand, right? I differentiate myself so much by doing that. And the great example in this industry, related to this industry, is HubSpot. And look how much brand equity they've built with all of that content out there, and how much of a dominant position they have now in these tools for small businesses. I mean, they are just absolutely crushing everybody in the marketplace. Okay, so there is no comparison. Anybody who says, I'm going to try and go this other route, I challenge you all day long to actually make it make sense. So I say all this and I stress all this because if you are somebody that you are struggling with, this content stuff, Mike, it's so hard, and you're going to have to just pull yourself up by your bootstraps and get it done. That is my challenge to you as an entrepreneur. If you want the rewards of being an entrepreneur in today's world, you better buck up and get it done because it's the way it works now. And I understand it's a challenge. I understand it may not be your personal nature to want to create that content, but there are all kinds of ways to resolve that. I guarantee you it's not your personal nature to make cold calls either. It's nobody's personal nature to make cold calls. It's maybe like a fraction of 1% of the population that actually enjoys that when they start, right? So pick your poison, right? You're going to have something that you're going to have to swallow here, and it's going to be a little tough in building your business. It's just the way it is. But ultimately, very soon, once you're generating some revenue, it doesn't have to be you creating all the content, right? For There San Diego, I don't create all the content. I've got people that I've hired that are creating content for me, right? So you don't have to do all this yourself, but you're going to have to do it probably for a period of time here, unless you got some deep pockets to invest in. And that's okay. Getting through that is good for us. Okay. Cal says, really like your YouTube shorts. Thank you. Christy says, do you do your own video editing? So yeah, Christy, it's interesting. I have been on a endless journey so far on how to produce and edit content. And you know, every day it gets a little better, a little more refined, a little more efficient. And certainly we have taken a big leap just recently with the AI tools that are available. Man, I got to tell you, creating content is dramatically easier now than it was just a year ago. And it's only going to get easier and easier with the AI tools. I mean, I think 6 months from now, I would predict that if we're on this call 6 months from now, I will be able to tell you it is mind-bogglingly easy to create content at that point. Just 6 months from now. That's how fast it's going. And when I say mind-boggling easy, like I'll be able to just load in a script and have a virtual version of me that looks exactly like me and sounds really damn close to exactly like me. I'll just be able to upload a script and the video will be created. And it won't be me creating the video. I won't be getting in front of a camera and recording anything. It will just be a digital AI created version of me that my friends and family who are real familiar with me will be able to know, hey, that's not Mike. I can tell that's not Mike. Possibly. No, I know. Stacy says you can do that now. It's not perfect, but it's very good. I know. Absolutely. I'm totally aware. I'm a total nerd with all these tools. I'm in there playing with them. So yeah, it's just not very good. As Stacy said, 6 months from now, it's going to be damn good. It's going to be damn good. I promise you. And again, somebody who knows me will be able to tell the difference, but 99.9999% of the world doesn't know me. So it doesn't matter as long as I can get something that's close enough that when people watch the content, they're not like distracted, like looking at it and going, is this a fake, whatever? Like, is that a real dude? As long as it's good enough that a stranger will watch the video and go, yeah, I got out of that what I was supposed to. And there's this Mike Cooch guy. Yeah, seems like a decent guy. Seems like he knows what he's talking about, right? Now let's go find out some more information about Mike Cooch, right? And they come to one of my calls and there I am live and stuff. And, at some point or another, they'll see, oh, that's an AI version of Mike. Nobody will care. Nobody will care. That's just the way the world is going, right? That's just the way the world is going. So it's going to be damn easy. Okay. So anyway, back to the question. Do I do my own video editing? I do most of my own video editing right now. I have one video editor who's working for me who does a portion of my videos. And the only reason I'm doing my own video editing right now, and it actually frustrates me, is because I have not found anybody that I feel like works at the pace and consistency and quality that I want to at any sort of price point that makes sense for me. Not to say that there's not good service providers. There are. I've struggled to find somebody that's working exactly the way I want to. And, so I'm just kind of like, okay, this is important enough to me. I'll just do it until some of these tools get better and better and better, and it gets easier and easier, right? For video editing, Chrissy, let's table this conversation just so I don't get off track, because I can talk about that all day long. And I actually just did a Moguls call, Christy, just 2 weeks ago or so, where I took everybody through my new content production process and what AI tools I'm using and stuff like that. So take a look at that replay because I cover all that in pretty good depth. And I will tell you, we have another boot camp already scheduled for, what is it, November? Maybe it's October. All about being a content production machine, where I'm going to take you through my full content production process, updated with all the latest tools and everything I'm using, because right now I'm definitely in the lab experimenting with stuff heavily. And so I will have some updates for you for sure. Okay. So sales and marketing cycle. Okay. We talked about this yesterday. Know, like, trust, try, buy. Almost everybody in the industry is completely obsessed with trying to find people right at the try or buy right now. Right. And that is hard because that's only 5 to 7% of the market. One, and two, you're reaching out to them cold and they don't want to be reached out to cold. That's not the way the world works anymore. So what we're focused on in this boot camp in particular is really these first few layers, know, like, trust, right? And that is the biggest piece of the pie by far, by far, by far, by far. And so we want to own as much of the share of attention and mind share up here that we possibly can. Because then when people are falling down here, they're falling down here to us by default, and a competitor has to try and replace us, which is much, much, much harder to do than beating us if we're just, calling in cold, right? So the math around this, again, this is just an example, and these numbers, I want to stress this again and make sure it's really clear. These numbers will vary pretty wildly depending on the audience you're going after, the offer that you're putting out there, the market that you're targeting in terms of geography. All of these things will vary, okay? In terms of the specific cost in particular, okay? What should not vary too much, and so you should use these to benchmark your performance. These things should not change too much. Right? If you have an ad with less than a 2.5% click-through rate, it's just not a very good ad, or your targeting isn't very good. Like, you've done kind of a poor job with your ad campaign. Okay? If you have an ad that's doing 5% click-through rate, you're doing really, really well with that ad and that ad campaign. Nice job. Okay? So this is a decent benchmark to just use all the time. 2 to 2.5%. If you're sending people from an ad to a landing page and you're getting less than a 25% opt-in rate, your landing page is either not that good, or the message from the ad to the landing page, the match of that message is not very good. Something's wrong. Okay, so these numbers over here, the 25%, 20%, 40%, 30%, use those as benchmarks. So as you study how your performance is doing, and by the way, in this boot camp, you will be getting inside the membership area my trackers that you should be using every single day to track how you're doing on your performance. Whether you're doing cold prospecting, track every day. How many people did I call? How many people did I reach? What were the results, right? If you're doing ad spending and stuff like that, so creating content, how many visitors did we get today? How many new leads did we get today? What is our total lead value in our pipeline in a high level today, right? Those are the things that you should be tracking every single day to see how you're making your progress. And then you will know these numbers. At the end of every month, you can look back at the numbers and go, okay, we have 30 days behind us now. How's that opt-in page performing, right? Is it over 25%, under? How many did we convert to prospect? How many did we convert to opportunity? How many did we close? Okay, this is going to give you really, really good benchmarks to understand your performance and determine where you need to improve your performance, okay? But these numbers, the specific cost number can vary pretty wildly. So I have a $25 per lead here, okay? $25 per lead. That is, I would say, a good lead cost in B2B sales. If I were running ads for a webinar, okay, to a cold audience to get people to register for my webinar, and I was getting $25 leads on that webinar, I'd be pretty darn happy with that. Okay, if I got anything less than $25, I'd be pretty stinking thrilled. And I would not be surprised if I was spending, depending on the market, all the way up to $50 a lead to get people on that webinar. Okay. So it can vary like that. And the only way that you're going to know for sure what the numbers are in your market is that this is a process. Okay. I said that again yesterday. This is a process that you have to commit to, where you should be testing relatively consistently new concepts, new ads, new lead magnets, that type of thing, so that you will start to know your numbers. Like I know here in San Diego, if I'm running a contest, okay, a giveaway contest, and I'm paying more than 50 cents per lead to get somebody in that giveaway contest, I'm evaluating it and going, is this worth it? If I'm paying $1, I'm shutting the thing down, because I know like it's just not a good giveaway. It's not resonating with the market. My ad stinks something. Because I've done so many giveaways, I just know my numbers. So, when I'm evaluating concepts, I can run an ad and within a day go, ooh, I'm either killing it or I'm getting killed. If you commit to the process, you will start to know your numbers like that. Okay. But this, $25, as I mentioned yesterday, I have a friend who is getting leads in an agency and selling them like crazy, by the way, for between $12 and $15 each. So he's crushing it. He's absolutely crushing it. And then I know lots of people that number is more like $50, $75, that type of thing. And if you're selling to plastic surgeons or whatever, that number could be way up from there. Okay. And it doesn't matter as long as the numbers down here work out to give you the viable business model according to the metrics that we covered yesterday. Okay. So know your numbers, know those benchmarks, understand that it requires an investment. You're making an investment one way or the other, whether you're investing your time has dollar value to it. And so if you are doing nothing but hustling and you're not running any paid ads, you're doing nothing but hustling to get your leads, right? You better be assigning a lead cost at the end of the month. Okay, at the end of the month, you better be going, okay, I got 250 new people in my pipeline, and I think I'm worth $10,000 a month, $15,000 a month, whatever it is. That's what I expect to be paid in the future by this business. Well, then you better be taking that pay and dividing it up in there so that you can be honest with yourself and go, oh shit, I just invested, X dollars to get those 250 leads, right? So that you can start to make that time money comparison and be honest with yourself about it. Okay. So be metrics focused. Treat your business like an entrepreneur and a CEO, not just a business owner. Okay. Not a small business owner. Even if your ambition is to stay a small business, you're going to enjoy that small business much more if you learn to run your business like an entrepreneur and a CEO, because then it can actually make you good money and allow you to get ahead. Okay. All right. So that's a little recap from yesterday. Just want to make sure that we're on the same page here mentally as we go into this. Okay. So we're going to launch now this next phase of our attention engine. We did outbound prospecting yesterday. Today, we're covering the content marketing and the ads. In the content marketing, we talked about yesterday, this is like push content marketing. Okay, so most content marketing, people assume I'm just going to put the content up there and I'm going to let it pull. I'm going to let the search engines do all the work of helping me, pull people in. Okay, we want the search engines to do their work, and we should optimize our content for SEO and all that good stuff, but we're not going to wait. We are going to force our content out there in front of people because it's cheap to do so. So let's take advantage of it, right? The time cost of waiting for a traditional SEO-based content process to kick in and start pulling us the traffic we want is too slow. The time cost is too expensive, okay? So we're going to push this out there. We're going to use my Prime the Pump ad campaign strategy. Many of you are familiar with that. Again, in this boot camp, I'm giving a simplified version of all of this to make sure that people get moving, get into action mode. You can then take these campaigns that I'm sharing with you today, and once you get to a point where you're like more advanced and you're looking for more advanced answers or whatever, you can go into my more full training then. I have an entire course, teaching Prime the Pump. I have an entire course teaching attention engine ad strategies that will be more in depth, but you don't need all of it to get started, okay? Again, I tend to give so much content that I know I can overwhelm people. I want to keep this simple. Okay. And I want to stress two things, particularly about doing this again in local markets. One, all of the ad guru training out there that you see, where, whatever ad guru is talking about, I spent, $700,000 on ads last year and generated $6 million in sales, $10 million in sales, and I always get a 15-to-1 ROI and all that. None of that is for you. Ignore all of it. That is not for you. That is not reality when you're advertising in a local market. Okay, market's not even that big to be able to spend that much money and get those kinds of returns. Okay, those are generally people selling courses or selling e-commerce products nationally or globally. Okay, and then when you realize that that's what they're doing, $6 million, return on an ad spend, if you're spending whatever millions of dollars to get out there, it's good money, of course, for that person. But that's not a lot of sales when you're considering a national or global market. So even though those numbers sound big and sexy, ignore them. It is not for you. And the good news is they're complex courses on how to run ads and stuff like that. Those are not for you either. You don't need that. You do not need that in a local market. It is all completely overkill in a local market. You just need to be out there in a local market in a sensible way, which is what you're going to learn today. Okay, so you're not going to get guru status, badge for what you're going to learn here. Nobody's going to declare you the guru of Facebook advertising, but you don't need that either. Okay, and you're actually going to have a life rather than sitting and staring at ads all day, because you don't want to do that either. Okay, so when it comes to lead generation ads, okay, so lead generation as opposed to content marketing ads, that's where we're trying to get somebody immediately to sign up for something or start a conversation with us or whatever. They also have the benefit of building our brand, right? When you see that we're advertising every day, even if it is a more transactional ad, the fact that you're seeing your brand out there and you're seeing the message on that ad and it's repeated, it's also having good brand effect as well. But we have certain ads and certain campaigns that are more specifically about trying to generate that lead, trying to make the transaction happen. And so we're going to talk about how to set those up as well. Okay? We're going to start with these more brand building campaigns, the non-transactional, where we're doing our push content marketing. And not to say that this won't generate leads for you. It absolutely will. It will generate leads for you. It will generate opportunities for you. It's just, that's not the way the campaign is designed. That's not its core objective. Okay. But, let me go ahead and say it. If you're publishing blog posts on your website and you're driving people to blog posts on your website, inside of that blog post, you should absolutely have an ad for your lead magnet, right? Have an ad for your lead magnet to let people opt in there, right? And of course, your newsletter, opt in on your website, things like that. You're going to generate leads from those visitors. Okay. But the point of this strategy is to get that content out there to add value and position yourself as the authority in the marketplace. Okay. Here are the 6 steps on how to do that. 1, you're going to post the content that you've created. That could be on your blog. That could be a video that you've created, and you're just going to post that directly up inside of Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube or whatever you're doing. Okay. Then you're going to boost it. Okay. So you're going to boost it. It's a simple, just putting a relatively small budget and saying, hey, get this out to the audience that I'm trying to reach with this piece of content. That's really all we're doing. Okay. And then you're going to see what gets response, and you're going to use that as your feedback loop, right? If we promote 3 different pieces of content and one of them is doing much better than the others in terms of response, just using it as a feedback loop to say, okay, I'm going to create more content like that. This is working with my audience. Maybe that's the topic. Maybe it's the style. Maybe it's the headline that you wrote. Maybe it's the format of the content. It's a vertical short form video versus a long form. All that, can be analyzed based on the feedback that you're getting. You're going to create more content like that over time, right? And you're going to boost those, and you're just going to repeat this process, okay? And the whole time that you're doing this, what you're building is retargetable audiences. You're building your brand, you're building awareness, you're building attention, and you can just do this forever. Just do it forever, right? Just constantly running these ads in your marketplace. Okay. Constantly adding value with new content out there. Okay. That's the strategy. So Carrie asked earlier, where does the content come from, Mike? I don't have any content. So the content blitzkrieg is my approach to creating content. That's a whole course. If you want the course, like I said, I will be taking Moguls members through the whole updated version of this here very shortly. If you are in any of my, academy style programs, MSP Academy, High Leverage Agency, you have access to a lot of my content from the Content Blitzkrieg on how to create content. So you've got plenty of what you need. And honestly, what I'm going to share with you in this presentation, you have plenty to execute the strategies that we're going to talk about here today. Okay. So how do we create content that is relevant to our audience? Here's a little framework from the Content Blitzkrieg just to help you start to brainstorm these topics. Okay. What you have there in the middle is a core topic. For each core topic, you can essentially go around this little wheel here and pick any of these strategies and create almost endless content around that core topic. Okay. So core topic is, how to run profitable ads as a local, profitable Facebook ads as a local business. Let's say that's your core topic. Well, there are 3 major insights that we've learned from running ads for, bazillions of businesses on how to make local ads profitable for local businesses, right? So that's, a common approach, right? These major teaching insights or secrets, whether it's 3 or 7 or whatever it is, good for you, whatever number that you have. What they don't want you to know is like positioning yourself against a competitor, right? What those expensive agencies don't want you to know about running your own profitable Facebook ads, right? Objection responses. So whatever objection responses that you commonly get, you can create a piece of content to handle that objection. Questions you should be asking before you hire anybody to run your Facebook ads, okay? Answers to the most frequently asked questions that you get about running Facebook ads. Epiphany moments. So, I really struggled with running Facebook ads, was never able to turn a profit until this happened, right? And then that was my epiphany moment. And here's what I learned, okay? These are all just like universal content styles that you can just follow right along with and create content related to your core solution that you're putting out there into the marketplace, okay? So if, again, you are going through my Content Blitzkrieg, you will see this approach where we say, okay, what is the current state problem that the customer is facing? What is the future state solution that you are helping them with? So if we say the current state problem is, I can't get any ROI from my Facebook ad campaigns, and we say your future state solution that you're marketing to them, the message is how to get positive ROI from your Facebook ad campaigns without having to hire someone to manage your campaigns or without having to hire an expensive agency, right? So that's a message that could absolutely work to, get the right person engaged in your content. Brittany had to sell the preach, Mike. So to get somebody from here to there, let's say that there are these 3 or 5 or 7 or whatever it is, core insights you have about running Facebook ads profitably. That those are the core insights that you would share with anybody who needed to do this, right? So secret number 1 is how to write, good direct response ads, right? Or direct response copy, right? Secret number 2 is how to find compelling images that stop people in their tracks. Step number 3 is solution messaging number 3. Secret number 3, how to structure your Facebook ad campaigns properly for ROI. Number 4 is that you absolutely have to do retargeting, and here's how to set up retargeting, and here's how to, the next one is how to find the right audiences to target. So these are your secrets to how you deliver your service, right? You're going to use those as content. So I just use an example here. Secret number 2, how to structure your Facebook ads correctly for ROI. That's a great piece of content. And that piece of content can be a blog post. It could be a YouTube video. It could be a podcast episode. It could be copy that you just write into the actual ad itself. It could be a LinkedIn post, right? It could be a Twitter thread, an X thread, whatever. You've got all kinds of options of how you can share that exact piece of content over and over again out into the world. Okay. You could write a piece of content that covers all of those secrets. You could write a piece of content that covers just each secret at a time. Okay. So this is how you come up though with those core topics that then, going back to this model, you've got this core topic, how to structure your Facebook ad campaigns correctly for ROI. Okay. And then, so here's just some examples then of some headlines or whatever that I would write, using some of these frameworks. What they don't want you to know, what agencies don't want you to know, what those expensive social media agencies don't want you to know is that if you simply structure your campaigns properly, the Facebook AI will do almost all the work for you, and you won't need that expensive agency anymore, right? So if I'm selling, the, oh my gosh, UpHex platform as part of my solution, right? And I'm selling to these small businesses, hey, you could just be doing this on your own. You don't need those expensive agencies. You just use our system. This is a great piece of content that I would use to pre-sell that approach. Okay. Mythbusters, the 7 most common reasons we hear business owners say they're afraid to manage their own Facebook ad campaigns, and we prove them wrong, right? So that's an objection responses. Over here, the 11 questions you must ask anyone before hiring them to run your Facebook ad campaigns. That's a questions you should ask, right? Over here, the 3 secrets to setting up your Facebook ad campaigns properly that practically guarantee positive ROI. Okay, so you can see here, just using this framework, pretty darn easy for me to come up with some topics. Really easy to take then any of these, put them into ChatGPT and say, hey, give me 10 headline versions for this topic. Okay. Now ChatGPT, outline a blog post covering this topic, assuming that this is going to be addressed to small business owners who have relatively small budgets and will be advertising just in their local market. ChatGPT puts an outline together for me. Great. That outline looks good. Write a blog post for me. Okay. Not hard at all. You go in there, you spend a little bit of time editing it to make sure it's good, make sure it reflects really what you want to say. Not hard. Okay. So hopefully we can all raise our hands and say, okay, I can see where you've got content kind of covered, right? All good. Okay. So then we're going to put that into a campaign structure. Okay. And this is where I will walk you through how to create this campaign specifically, but I created this little cheat sheet for you here as well. So you'll be able to refer back to it as you're creating your own. Let me just look at some of the comments here. Yeah. Howard says, what's up, Howard? Howard says, isn't there a point where you've covered topics related to your offer and you can just promote evergreen content? Yeah. Yes, Howard. Absolutely. I mean, when I create a blog post that's meant to be essentially evergreen, I will oftentimes promote that blog post for a year without touching it. Usually, especially in our world of today's, in our world of digital marketing and we're closely associated with technology and our solutions and stuff. Things are changing so fast that there's pretty much always some update that you can make. And that's not a bad thing, right? I mean, you want to keep your content current. Google loves it if you update your content. So if you go in and update that content to make sure it's super current and relevant, that's going to help you even more in the search engines. So, I think that we're always at least doing updates to our content. It's not just truly set it and forget it, but it's also not that much work either, right? I mean, like there's San Diego as an example. Howard, as you know, like I have posts on there that, every month I just go through and I pick the handful of posts that are relevant to that month. So March, where to watch March Madness, where to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, the best Irish bars in San Diego, whatever, right? I just go through and just do an update of those, and it takes, 15 minutes a post, and then fire them back up into the ads, and they do the work for me again. So not hard. Mikey boy, your presentation content, all of this will be inside of the course membership area. Okay. So if you don't have that, you can email help@services@scale.com. We'll get that to you. But if you go into the circle environment for this program specifically for the Attention Engine Bootcamp, we'll put all the links to everything that you need in there, okay, to be able to get access to the course, all that good stuff. Okay, let's talk about this Prime the Pump campaign structure. So again, what we're doing is we're pushing the content out there with the primary objective of just getting people to consume the content. It's not to generate a lead, it's not to generate a sale. Okay, the primary objective is get people to consume that content so that we can achieve our objective of educating them, showing our knowledge and expertise, demonstrating that we're trustworthy, starting to build that emotional connection, that brand connection. Okay, and what I've outlined here is specifically for Facebook, like in terms of the exact language that's being used in here and stuff. It's Facebook, but it applies to just about any ad network. There's a version of everything that we're walking through here in just about every major ad network at this point. LinkedIn is almost exactly the same. I haven't messed with Twitter recently. I will, but it's pretty darn close. Google is always more convoluted, in my opinion, in terms of how you have to set things up. But it's again, you can accomplish all this. And TikTok, super similar to Facebook, so it's all in there. You just gotta get in there enough to kind of understand and interpret how that particular ad network maybe using different language and stuff like that. But what we're doing here is accomplishable in any significant ad network. Okay, so we are going to create two different campaigns, one traffic campaign and one engagement campaign. Okay, and I will say that again, if you are struggling at all with this and how to do advertising, like if any of this is like just totally overwhelming to you, just do the traffic campaign. Okay, you can add the engagement campaign later. Just do the traffic campaign just to get started. But the reason why I say an engagement campaign as well, you can see there's two reasons, right? To get more social engagement on a post. Okay, so it's always nice if your posts that you're promoting have a bunch of responses, a bunch of happy responses on the post. It's proven to help then that it'll get more click-through rate as well. So it's nice to have some social engagement on there. And then also is to promote pieces of content that you natively add up, that you natively upload like into Facebook. So as an example, if you are in that traffic campaign, sending people to your website because you wrote a blog post, okay, and then you're taking the link from that blog post, you're sharing it on your Facebook page, okay, and then you're promoting that post on your Facebook page. You're going to promote that through the ad system, okay? When you do that and somebody clicks on it, you've got a traffic campaign, they go to your website to read that blog post, right? So you're getting traffic to your website, right? But if you upload a video natively into Facebook, then it's not a traffic post that you're doing there because you're not sending somebody off of Facebook to watch that post. You're keeping them right there. So that one is more about just getting that engagement. It's getting views of that video, consumption of that video. It's going to be right there in Facebook. Okay. The nice thing is you can create retargeting audiences off of either of those scenarios. You can create retargeting audiences if somebody goes to your website. You can also create retargeting audiences from somebody viewing your videos on Facebook. Okay. So 6 one, half dozen of the other. But if you're uploading videos directly into Facebook, you're going to want to do an engagement campaign, not a traffic campaign. So it's ideal that you do both of these, particularly if you are doing some blog posts, doing some videos, things like that. Okay. Advantage campaign budget. This is where warning, guru warning right here. Okay. As soon as we start talking about advantage campaign budgets or any of the testing features or anything like that of Facebook, or I start talking about putting more than one ad in an ad set or, any of that type of stuff, this is where, somewhere a guru's head catches on fire, right? Because Mike, you're doing it all wrong. When I run my international campaigns to sell people my courses, I never do it that way. Yeah, I get it. I get it. And you're spending $100,000 a month and you're doing split testing and you're doing, all that type of stuff. And your ads have to have ROI because you're really just 100% transactional focused and you're selling people stuff right away and yada, yada, yada. So that guru has to run those ad campaigns differently. And they will tell you, never do ad advantage campaign budget. You're turning over control to Facebook and you're just surrendering to the Facebook robots and, giving your money to Zuckerberg, right? You're going to hear that. You're going to hear that stuff from people, okay? It has nothing to do with us, and it has nothing to do with these campaigns. So do your very best to solidify yourself against the criticism and just run the stinking campaigns, okay? Because I'm asking you to spend $5 a day, $10 a day. If you're spending $5 a day and $10 a day, you have no time to do fancy testing, fancy optimization, any of that stuff. It makes no sense. You literally have no time to bother doing any of that when you're spending $5 or $10 a day. The math doesn't make sense. So we're just going to take advantage of the capabilities of Facebook to help us get this stuff out there, viewed by as many people as we can in our target audience. That's all we care about. And that it's set it and forget it so that we can go and do the rest of our jobs every day. Because Lord knows we can't sit there and just manage Facebook ads all day, right? So, advantage campaign budget. What that says is Facebook, look at my different assets that I'm putting in here, and I am okay with you moving the budget around a little bit based on the data that you're seeing to make sure that my right content that's actually getting response is getting shown more of the time than other content. Okay? We are surrendering that decision to Facebook and saying, hey, you can use your judgment, AI, right? the Facebook AI. So again, if I was doing like pure split testing because I wanted to run, $100,000 to one of these two ads and I want to know which one I want to run it to, well then yeah, I would do a split test and I would not surrender that to Facebook. But if I'm not doing a true split test, I just want this content out there and be seen, surrender it to Facebook. Let Facebook do its job. Its AI is smart enough and getting smarter every damn day, right? That we can just let it do its magic, okay? We're going to put multiple ad sets in place because of targeting. Our first ad set, okay, and again, keep in mind, this is a cold traffic campaign. We are putting content out there into the universe and trying to just get the right people to click on our content, okay, or view our content. So cold traffic. First one is, the first ad set is targeting your geographic market. It is a very open targeting when we target locally. Okay, that's my experience. That's what works best. So what I mean by very open targeting is even if you are targeting chiropractors, you're just going to run your ad to San Diego. Okay, and you are going to use your ad to call out the audience. So the ad will say, attention chiropractors, would you like to increase your patient show up rate, right? That type of thing. Attention chiropractors is going to make sure that people who aren't chiropractors, they shouldn't be clicking on your stinking ad, right? I'm not a chiropractor. Why do I care about that ad? So Facebook will use its AI to say, hey, it's chiropractors and people who work at chiropractic offices that are clicking on these ads, not these other people. And so it's going to start using its algorithm to show the ad to the right people, okay? The alternative is that you use the detailed targeting in Facebook to say, only show this ad to chiropractors. When you do that, there are very, very few chiropractors in San Diego, whatever that number is. It's not a huge number. The amount of money that you're paying per thousand to reach those chiropractors goes way up, okay? And in my experience, that ends up being much more costly than doing the open approach that I'm teaching you here today. My first rule of advertising, I will say this to all of you now, again, so that I don't get whacked over the head by a guru later today when I'm walking down the street, is that my first rule of advertising is always test. Test, 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 test. Doesn't matter what anybody tells you. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks is right. It doesn't matter. I think this is a better headline than that headline. Test is the only answer. Okay. But again, I'm stressing right now for those of you who are pretty new to this stuff, or you're only spending $5 a day on ads, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Do it my way. You're going to be just fine. Okay. Is it a possibility that by doing more detailed targeting, you would have actually done even better? Sure, but it's $5 a day. How much better can you do, right? You're going to do what? 40 cents better than me on the day? Just run the stinking ads, okay? Don't get all bogged down and I'm going to test all the perfect stuff, because I guarantee you, we will be sitting down here 6 months from now and you'll still be telling me that you're testing X, Y, and Z. I promise you, okay? Just get this stuff going. The second ad set is everything the same as the first ad set, but now you're targeting a 10% lookalike audience, okay? What is a 10% lookalike audience? A lookalike audience is where we're telling Facebook, hey, everybody that's captured by my pixel already, that's visited my website, that is following me on social media, that is engaged with my content, that has watched my videos, put all those people into an audience, find the characteristics of them, and then find the audience out there in San Diego that looks most like them and show my ads to them. 10% refers to the, it's the broadest range that you can give the lookalike audience creator to say, gather more people, which is important when you're local because your audience is so small. You want to get more people in that audience. If you tighten it down too much, so that like you could do a 1% lookalike audience. And if I were advertising globally, that would make sense, because I would say, hey, find the 1% out there, but it's a huge planet, so that could still be millions of people, versus locally, I need more people in my audience. Like the audience is so small, so we're going to do 10%. Okay. So that's what a lookalike audience is. So that will be your second ad set that you're targeting. Again, what I will say is that is a slightly more advanced concept. If you struggle at all with, Mike, how do I create a lookalike audience? Any of that type of stuff, don't worry about it. Just do the first ad set for now. Okay. And if you're just getting started, you don't have any audience to look like anyway, right? Nobody's been coming to your website. Nobody's subscribed to any of your stuff. So you don't even have to worry about that anyway. That could be something that you roll out 3 months from now, 6 months from now, whatever. So don't get hung up on it. Okay. 1 ad per ad set. Okay. 1 ad per ad set. So you're going to put a piece of content out there, create an ad set, an ad promoting that piece of content, drop it into the campaign, let it run. Okay. Set a date range for that ad set as is appropriate for the content. So like Howard and I were talking about earlier, okay, where you may have a piece of content that you just want to let essentially just kind of run forever. That's fine. Okay. You may have a piece of content that you put out there that you're like, this is seasonal or something like that, right? Do these X things before the holiday to set yourself up for more growth in the new year. Well, then I'm only going to run that, through New Year's or whatever. So just whatever is sensible. I recommend, so for me personally, if I'm putting a piece of content up into an ad, I'm never doing that unless I'm planning on running that content at least like a couple of weeks. Like otherwise, why did I even bother, right? And in most cases, it's more like at least a month. And in a lot of cases, it's months. I'm letting it run for 3 months or so before I change anything. Okay. Otherwise, again, why go through all the effort? And then rinse and repeat. You're going to duplicate the ad sets. So you're going to stay in the same one campaign, but you're going to duplicate the ad set. Okay. And then you're just going to replace the content at the ad level. And then just every time you write a new blog post, put it up in this campaign, push it out there. Every time you create a new video, load it up to Facebook, put it in the campaign, push it out there. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, that's all it is. This is now a process. You've got this infrastructure set up. You just let that campaign run forever. And then you just come in, put a new piece of content into a new ad set, a new ad, press go. Come in, put a new piece of content into a new ad set, a new ad, press go. That's all there is to it. Okay, so that structure You get set up. Once you get the structure set up, you can literally hire a high school intern to then continue running your Facebook ads for you. Because literally all it is, you can record a little Loom video where it says, post the piece of content onto Facebook, go into Facebook, copy this ad set, change the name, replace the piece of content in the ad to now select that new piece of content you just posted on Facebook, hit submit. Like that's it. That's all they have to do. It is as simple as you can possibly get. You can do this with zero skill, zero background, as long as you have that structure set up. Okay? Right? So, all right, I see some good questions coming in. And what I'm going to do here next, I think this is the right way to do this. I'm going to go over to my ads manager here next, and I'm going to take you through how to set up that campaign. Let me answer some of these questions before I do it. And what I was thinking through there was, should I go through all the campaign types and then set them all up right away in Facebook and show you all of them in a row? But I think what I'm going to do, I just went through that campaign type. I think I'm going to walk you through the setup of that one. And we'll go to the next one. We'll walk you through the setup of that one. Walk you through the next one. Setup of that one. Does that make sense? I think. Jeff, can we use UpHex for the 10% lookalike ad set? Yes. Charles Linda says, do you suggest we only do this on Facebook, or should we test try LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok? No, wherever you feel like you can reach your audience best, go for it. Absolutely. I mean, there is no good reason for any of us not to be advertising on all of those platforms other than just the time and attention required to do it and money. But that's it. Otherwise, we should be advertising on every platform. Why not? Right? There's audience on every platform for us. I don't care who you're advertising to. They're on TikTok, they're on LinkedIn, they're on YouTube. So ideally, we'd be everywhere. John says, is each campaign its own ad set? John, I think you may be flubbing your language just a little bit there. And causing yourself maybe a little bit of confusion. So there's campaigns, ad sets, and ads. So campaign is the top order. Okay. So an ad set goes inside of a campaign. So you're going to have one campaign and then multiple ad sets inside of that campaign. A bunch of ad sets, ultimately, like over the course of the year. So what I do is I create a campaign for the year. And by the end of that year, I have a bazillion ad sets and ads in there. And then the next year, I just create a new one. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. That's actually probably stupid now that I say it out loud, because when I create the new campaign, I'm essentially erasing a year's worth of like kind of data memory that was accumulated in that campaign. So I probably shouldn't do that anymore. It's my anal organization side, but there's a better way to do that. But John, I will show you here in just a moment the structure. I think you'll see exactly what I mean here. Do you suggest a couple of images or text to split test at least? No, not in this particular case. Okay, not in this particular case. So this is a good question, and we will talk about doing some different images and things like that to split test later. Different campaign though. Okay, in this campaign, this is the stupid simple, just get me visibility. I'm putting a very small budget to it. I am not investing money in split testing. Split testing takes money. Okay, so if you knew that ultimately this piece of content, let's say, like Howard asked earlier, like, hey, Mike, I created a piece of content and I'm planning on this being like my bread and butter marketing post that I'm going to promote for like years, right? And I'm going to create some slight variations of it over time and all that, but I'm just going to promote this sucker for years. Then yes, you would split test images, you would split test headlines and stuff, because you're about to spend tens of thousands of dollars over time on that one ad, right? So you want to find the winner. What we're talking about in this strategy right now, and again, we're going to do more campaigns. This campaign is just the stupid simple, super cheap, shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes. You shouldn't have to think about it at all. You're not worried about that this one particular post got a 2.4% click-through rate versus a 2.6 if you had tested better. Like, just get the damn content out there. Okay? There is some built-in, intentionally, lack of rigor in this. Okay? So if you're a hardcore, Mike, I'm a data guy and we got to split test and all that type of stuff, you got to try and lower your guard here a little bit. And the reason why is because I'm going to get a lot more advertising done than you are. Okay? In a local market like this, I am going to get a lot more advertising done than you are if you continue to follow that over analytical data approach. And again, anti-guru talk here. If you were running these campaigns nationally to sell your course or your e-commerce widget or whatever it is to a big audience, and you're going to be investing in this ad campaign for the next year and probably investing well into the 6 figures, of course. But we're talking about a local market in San Diego. I can't spend anywhere near that amount of money, even if I try. There's just not enough people. There's not enough stuff to show them, right? So I just want to get as many touch points out there as I can. So exactly, it's basically a boost post idea. Exactly. It's just got a little more structure to it, a little more ability to, manage it a little more effectively. That's it. Okay. So how many pieces of new content per week should we create? Mike, I would tell you, I would love for you to create as many as you can. But I would say that I know that many of you, your as many as you can is 0 right now. And mine is, I'm trying to go for 30, right? So I would love to see everybody post one new piece of content every week. I mean, if you're not posting at least one new piece of content every week, you better be able to get on this call in front of everybody here and look me straight in the eye in this camera and go, Mike, I've got 3 jobs, 7 kids, and I'm taking care of a sick mother. And then I go, okay, I got it. Do your thing, man. But if you're like, Mike, I'm just trying to build my agency and I don't have time to do a piece of content each week, I'm going to go, you're full of shit. Because I'm doing the same thing you do. I'm doing the same thing you're doing, and I'm creating a whole heck of a lot more content than that. So, is there too much, Mike? No, I don't think that there is such thing as too much. I really don't. I think that it is so hard to get the attention of people and keep that attention in today's world. I don't think there's such a thing as over, what is it, that old PR saying that you can have overexposure or whatever? I don't think that that's true. But I think that there's a practical limit for all of us as to how much time, we're gonna spend on it, right? So, but I would love to see one new blog post a week or one new video a week, like at a minimum, would be fantastic. Okay? Let me go ahead and jump into Ad Manager. Go there real quick and see what I got. Okay, cool. Well, I'll just show you here. We'll just do in there San Diego real quick, just so you can see. Oh wait, this is services at scale. Cool, good enough. Either one. Let me go ahead and share this tab so you can see. This is exactly the type of thing that we're talking about here. You can see my. Nope, you can't see it. Hold on. So this is inside of services at scale right now. And I've got a bunch of pieces of content that I'm promoting. I'm sure many of you have seen these pieces of content out there, maybe so many times that you're getting annoyed as shit. But, that is what it is. And I am not perfect at this, as none of you will be either, at making sure that I'm refreshing the content as much of a pace as I want to, anything like that. It just is what it is. We're all human. But you can see, I'm sure you recognize just by the title, some of these pieces of content, right? 4 best high-level starter services. Do not sell high-level SaaS. Most important thing high-level does for agencies. Most profitable decision the agency can make. Most important thing high-level does. Number one reason agencies fail to grow. Do not sell high-level SaaS. These are on YouTube, right? So I'm promoting people to YouTube. So you are, you're seeing, all this, this is exactly how it works. You can see what $52,000. That's over the last few years in this campaign. So that's not, it's not a ton of money. It's not a ton of money, right? And I think that's important to note. I mean, I got a good, healthy business, and that's not a ton of money over 3 years, 3.5 years. It's only it's around $1,000 a month type of thing, a little over $1,000 a month. So, this is not huge budget stuff that we're doing, right? And so you don't have to do huge budget stuff. Okay. Some more questions. Do the algorithms for social media penalize your posts if you are using an auto posting service like what's in Go High Level? Jeff, that is something that is consistently debated out there. I have seen interviews like with Instagram's product managers specifically here recently, where the product manager for Instagram said, we prefer that you use Instagram to post your content, and we prioritize it if you do. So if you want to say that it's a penalty by not posting, I think that there's probably some truth to that. Okay. I still use tools though all the time. It's just not practical for me every time to be posting natively. So, Charles Linda says, Mike, we publish a blog post once per week. In a previous training, we're running ads to each blog post for 7 days before switching to the next. Are you suggesting longer periods? Yeah, I would do longer. I'd run for a month anyway for each post. Why not? I mean, it takes more budget, but if you can afford to do it, why not? You're certainly not hitting all of your audience in 7 days. I mean, not anywhere close. If you only have enough budget for 5 posts per week, would you saturate one platform or split the same post over multiple platforms? I would assume if you only have enough budget that you're concerned about, hey, I can only, if your budget is feeling that constrained, I would just say just focus on one platform until your budget isn't that constrained. You know what I mean? Just focus like crazy on getting some sales going, generate some more revenue, and then you can start diversifying. Okay. All right. So let's go through the walkthrough of creation of this. Okay. So you can just follow along here. And again, you will have all of this in the membership area afterwards. Don't feel like you have to, get it exactly right, or, that you have to be watching, hanging on every word or anything like that here while we're going through it. Because you're going to get access to it. Let me go back to real quick. We'll just do an overview of the slide where I walk you through the setup of it. And then we'll just come right back here and we'll create it. Okay, so let me just do this. Okay, so should have the slide come up here in 1 second showing us the campaign structure that we're going to create. And this is the prime the pump again. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to promote content onto, essentially we're going to boost our content. Okay, and I'm just going to do the simple version for now, where we're just going to set up this first ad set. Okay, I'm happy to do a video inside of the membership area where I show you how to create a lookalike audience. Super simple. So you can have that as well. But for this one, we're just going to do the first version of this, nice and simple. We're going to do a traffic campaign. Okay. So let's go back over to our ad manager, and I'm just going to go ahead and start from scratch just to show you. So we're going to do a new campaign. Let me just make sure before I move on that, okay, you can see this, cool. So I just hit the new campaign or the create button here. Okay, I'm in the campaign tab. So let's go over here in a campaign tab. I'm going to hit create. All right. This is important. So they changed the objectives. It used to be what I think 11 objectives. Now it's simplified down to 6. So hopefully making life a little bit easier for us. Okay. I'm going to choose the traffic objective. Okay, that's all we got to do. I can name my campaign right here too. I could do that later as well, but I might as well just go ahead and do it. So I would just call this. I mean, the way I do it is I just do, prime the pump, traffic, and if you're, whatever details you want to put in there, but you could do, 2023. You could do, San Diego if you're in multiple markets, whatever. Okay. So I just do that. The ad set, if you know what you're going to create, okay, like if you know what content you're going to promote already, then I would just put the name of the content in here and just put traffic. So I would put, let's do 7 FB ad secrets blog traffic. And then I would just take the exact same thing and I would put it here for the name of the ad. Okay. So that way I can easily kind of identify what it is I'm promoting and that it's a traffic campaign. So if I also have an engagement campaign going and I have that exact same blog post in an engagement campaign, then I would create that one to say engagement, and it's awareness now actually is the name, right? No, I'm sorry, engagement. Yeah, there's awareness and engagement. So I would do engagement for the name here so that when I'm looking at my reporting, I'd be able to easily tell the difference as to which is which. Okay, so I hit continue. So that's giving me the basic structure of my campaign is in place now. And then you can see here, auction type, traffic. I'm not going to mess with any of this. I'm not going to do any A/B testing. Okay, and I am going to go ahead and again, turn on my Advantage campaign budget. Okay, read this. Advantage campaign budget will distribute your budget across ad sets to get more results depending on your delivery optimization choices and bid strategy. Okay. If you have ad sets that require more budget control, you can set minimums or maximum spending limits. So you still have some control here. So that's important to note because we're going to take advantage of that later, actually. And I can show you how to take advantage of it now if you want. I don't necessarily do it in the Prime the Pump campaigns, but you could if you wanted to. So daily budget, I'm going to leave this at daily budget. And you're going to put in the daily budget that you're comfortable with for your overall budget for Prime the Pump for all of the ad sets that will be running in here. So Charles and Linda just said, hey, if we're going to promote these longer term, we could be promoting like up to 8 posts at a time or something like that, 10 posts at a time. So if you say, okay, I'm going to put $20 a day in here. So that's going to essentially $2 a post, right? Whatever your number is that you're comfortable spending, that number that you put here is going to get divided up amongst all of your posts. Not equally, because you turn this on. So Facebook's going to do what it wants to drive traffic around a little bit. But this is the total number that you're going to spend per day across all of those ad sets. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and say $20 a day. And I would say in my local market, in a local market, just doing $20 a day, if you can do something like that, that's a pretty darn good, like you can get a decent amount of traffic and visibility for $20 a day in a local market, like in San Diego, So if you're in a place smaller than San Diego and you're doing $20 a day, you can show up pretty darn well for $20 a day out there in your marketplace. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and hit next. So that will take me to the ad set. Okay. So who was it? John, I think you asked earlier. So again, that's the campaign. This is the ad set. Okay. Each ad set will be created for one ad. Okay. One ad for each ad set, one ad set for each ad. Okay. But all of them will go into one campaign. Okay. So in this particular case, let's just say I'm promoting a blog post. Okay, so I'm going to do website to my traffic. Traffic to my website. And then I'm going to maximize the number of link clicks. So I'm just going to leave this as it is. Okay. Now you can see this. Oh, wait, that's not the one I was looking for. I'll show you here in just a moment. I'll show you in just a moment. Dynamic creative, I leave that off. Okay, let me explain to you what dynamic creative is, just real quick. This is using Facebook's AI to create essentially like an unlimited number of combinations of image, headline, copy, whatever for you. So if you theoretically just wanted to let Facebook just create your ads for you, but you're giving it some guidance because you're saying you can create it, but using any of these 10 images, any of these 10 headlines, do your thing, then you could turn on this dynamic creative and let it go. And that would make things really, really simple. But in this particular campaign, it's not necessary because we're just loading up a blog post, right? And so we're not doing any sort of testing or anything like that. We could use this on other campaigns, which we'll cover here in just a bit. I tend not to use this. I have experimented with it. I tend not to use it because I think that the AI for this is not quite far enough along that I don't trust it to put together some weird combinations where I'm like, ooh, that image and that headline don't quite really rather go together. I want a little more control over that message that's out there in the marketplace. So I don't do that yet. Okay, and I say yet because again, 6 months from now, I think all this stuff is going to get a massive update. Okay. Okay, so then start date and set an end date if you only want it to run for a period of time. So let's just go ahead and say that we're going to run this one for, a handful of weeks. So I'm just going to go over here, pick till Friday, 12 a.m. Oop, what did I do? Start date is in the past. Let's make that 4:25 p.m. Okay. Now, this is at ad set spending limits. Okay. So what you can do, so even though it's $20 a day across all of my ad sets, if I wanted to say like, hey, I want to make sure that every post is at least getting some traffic though. So don't just make any of these posts just totally disappear. You could set a minimum daily spend here. And you could say, hey, look, I want every post to at least get $1 worth of ad spend. Okay, to every single ad set that I'm putting out there. So this ad set, I'm saying at least spend $1 every day on this ad set. So even if I have 5 that are running at the same time, and one of them is like crushing the others, if for whatever reason you say, yeah, but I'd like all of them to be out there at least a little bit, then you could set a minimum number here, and Facebook's still going to spend some money on that. Okay, so you could do that there. Location. So again, we're going to do very wide open, but you've got to choose your market. So you don't want to do just the United States, obviously. So you're going to do a search for your location. I'm going to say San Diego. Okay, and I've got San Diego right here, and I'm looking at the map, and I'm going, yep, that's my San Diego. You always just want to make sure because there are other San Diegos around the world, right? You can drop a pin. You can zoom in on this. You can get more targeted for sure if you want to. So you can say like, I'm going to do I'm going to do just, let's say, Oceanside, California. And so there's a bunch of Oceansides. You want to make sure and look. So I got my Oceanside here. Okay. I can, zoom out, zoom in on the sucker. I can drop the pin. Okay. I can do Oceanside. I can do exclude, but I'm keeping this very broad, but let's just say for whatever reason, you want to tighten up that, particular range because you're like, oh, I don't do anything at all on Temecula. You can drop this down and you can start to narrow in even closer on your, particular target city all the way to a 10-mile radius. Okay. As you're doing that, just keeping in mind that your audience size is dropping. But if you're like, hey, yeah, but I don't do anything in Temecula. So, okay, then don't, there's no reason to include that. I would put a sensible age range. This is one that I do mess around with a little bit. So if you're going after chiropractors and you're like, there are no chiropractors under the age of 25. Okay. Well, then, you can set an age range of minimum age 25. Okay. So you can go ahead and, just do that. Just basic stuff. But that's the level of detail, that I do for these local ads. That's really it. Like, I don't get into any more like real specific detail than that. Now, you do have Advantage Plus audience here. So this is our ad technology automatically finds your audience. If you share an audience suggestion, we'll prioritize audiences matching this profile before searching more widely. This is an opportunity for testing. I so far do not do this. Okay, this is a relatively new thing from Facebook. I so far do not do this. So what I do is I would just switch to this original audience options. Okay. And when you do that, you can see, stuff that maybe we're expecting more if you've been in Facebook before. So you can drop this down and say, hey, I don't want to advertise to anybody over 60. So now 25 to 60. If for some reason it makes sense to advertise only to specific genders or whatever, you could. But again, to me, this is the stuff that I typically just keep all of this just completely wide open. Okay. I do not mess with that at all. All right. Good thing to do is once you know that, okay, this is my audience I want to go after, just save it as an audience and just give it a name that you'll easily recognize. So then from now on, every time you create these, you don't have to go through this. You just go right here to use saved audience. You pick an audience and just, do it that way. Nice, easy time saver. Okay. And make sure you don't make any mistakes that way. And then you can see here Advantage Plus placements. Okay. So this is now using the AI to allocate your ad spend depending on the particular placement that's working best. So in other words, a Facebook feed post or a Messenger post or an Instagram feed post or something like that, I am taking advantage of this more and more often now. Okay. I'm saying, yeah, Facebook, if you find that, this ad placement is performing better than this ad placement and you want to spend more traffic there, I am letting Facebook do that. Again, this is the lazy man's version of advertising. Okay. And I am letting Facebook take control here. And I really do expect, gang, here that, again, 6 months from now, I'm probably going to let Facebook take control of all of this stuff. I think that's absolutely the direction that Facebook or that advertising is moving. And so, yeah, I'm kind of picking and choosing the ones that I'm comfortable with right now, and I'm sharing that with you right now. But whether or not you feel comfortable, if you said, hey, I'm not comfortable with that, you just do your show more options. And then, you just do your edit right here, go back to manual placements, and then you can choose, no, I don't want this to show on Facebook, Instagram, or whatever, right? You can absolutely test those. Again, if that's something that you're comfortable with, where you're like, hey, Mike, I'm a tester. I'm going to find this out. I understand this enough. I'm comfortable enough with this stuff to do that. Perfect. You do your thing. Okay. If you're just getting started, I am leaving that on these days. And you can, I think, feel comfortable to do the same. Now we're at the ad level. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and preview my ad. I have no idea why you would not want to preview your ad. I don't know why that is default turned off, but I want to preview my ads, see what they look like. Okay. You're making sure that you're promoting to the right page. If you have an Instagram account that you want to promote to, you do that as well. And then on the ad setup, you can do create ad or use existing posts. Now, remember, we posted this piece of content to Facebook. So I'm going to use an existing post. And then I'm just going to go and choose my post here that I'm going to promote right here. Select post. And I'm going to say this one right here, sell more high level by selling complete systems. Okay. Hit continue. This, in this case, isn't a blog post. It's a video, obviously, but you get the point. If this was I just scroll through here and look for a blog post. I've been putting lots of video up there lately. But I could, come in here obviously and just pick blog posts. So that's what you're going to do those. You're just going to pick that post, and just to make sure before I say, you're going to put your call to action button. If you have a call to action, as in you want people to go to your website, you can go ahead and choose, right? Add the button here and do learn more. I always do learn more. And then you put your URL right here. Okay. So, you can, edit, you can choose one of these other call to actions. I always just put learn more. I don't know, for whatever reason, I default to that as kind of like the most, I don't know, the least salesy, least like threatening to somebody to go and have to, check it out. But that is it. Okay. That is it. And I know I just walked you through that for the first time, so it may seem like a lot, but honestly, once you get this thing set up, it's super, super simple. This is like a very, very simple campaign structure. And then when you have another one to do, all you do is you come in here at the ad set level, you go over here, you hit the 3 buttons, you say duplicate, okay? You keep it as original campaign because it's going to duplicate just right inside of this campaign. You hit duplicate, okay? And then you just change the name. Okay, now I'm doing my 7 blog post secrets. Okay, and traffic. And then I'm going to take that, copy it at the ad level as well, and put that in there. Okay, so now I am updating my name for the new thing. Everything else stays exactly the stinking same, except for here. We're going to change our date, assuming that we're adding a new piece of content a week from now. We would change our dates, right? Otherwise, everything else the same. We'd go into the ad. We would change the post. We would select the new post that we're running. Hit continue. And we would be all done. And we'd hit submit or publish. Okay, so that's how you do the second post. Okay, so you can see that first one took us a little while because we set up the whole structure. The second one, all we're doing, come in here, duplicate the ad set, change the date, change the post, hit publish. That's all that you're doing going forward, is that. Okay? I almost never check my performance statistics on these posts other than just kind of relative, like, oh, it seems like my audience is interested more in this topic than that topic, but I really don't care if I got a 2.2% click-through rate or a 3.5% click-through rate. Like I'm not stressing about that. It's really not a big deal to me. I just care that the thing got out there and got seen, and I didn't spend an arm and a leg on it, and it's keeping me visible. It's keeping attention, and it's getting people that are, consuming our content. Okay, so that's the prime the pump campaign setup. That's all there is to it. Super, super simple. Anybody have any questions on that before we keep moving? Any questions on that one before we keep moving? Let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to head back to our presentation here so we can keep moving. Okay. Charles Linda said they used to live in Temecula. That's right. And our next campaigns, we will be focused on funnel fillers. We're going to be focused on the lead magnets, okay? Any part of that not available in UpHex? Any part of that not available in UpHex? I'd have to think about that, Jeff. I'm not entirely, I don't believe so. I don't believe so. I'm gonna have to leave it at that for now. Yeah, I can't think of anything. And if you launch it in UpX, can you then go to Facebook and adjust? Yep. Yep. Absolutely. And more you can do adjustments in UpX as well. Is the ad a different destination from other ads in the same ad set? Oh, yeah. So in this example, yeah. So in this example where I was promoting a video, and so that video doesn't have a URL associated with it, then yes, you would put in the different ad destination for sure. If you were choosing a blog post that the blog post was created by dropping a URL in there, then it's automatically going to have that URL pulled for you. At least that's typical, it does. Okay, but yes, you want to make sure that you're sending the traffic to the right place if you are running a traffic campaign. Yep. Okay, lead generation campaigns. Let's go ahead and go through this. Okay, so now we're getting that attention. Okay, but we also want to be running campaigns that are specifically meant to get leads, right? Okay. Mikey Boy says all these Facebook ads can run in Instagram as well, right? Yes. Yep. And there's limitations on certain formats and stuff like that. So not everything that you can run in Facebook will run on Instagram and vice versa, but it will pop up a big warning and tell you, if you need to do something different. Okay. A lead magnet. What is a lead magnet? Let's just make sure we have an incentive offered to potential buyers in exchange for their contact information and consent, right? Consent to continue contacting them. Okay, so that's what a lead magnet is. Criteria for good lead magnets. It's got a clear promise and benefit. So people just understand, hey, here's what I'm going to get. It targets a known desire. So with a lead magnet ad, you're not trying to educate people as to why they want this. Like you should be targeting something that they should know that they want, right? They should look at that ad and go, oh, that would be nice to have, right? It's specific. So it is, as an example, an ad for how to run better Facebook ads is less specific than the 7 steps to design a profitable lead generation campaign. The second one being much more specific, and that will get a much better response. Okay. High perceived value, but that's relative. Okay. Getting a little checklist or something like that is a fantastic lead magnet. And is the perceived value high? Maybe not high, but it's relative to what you're asking them to do, which is give your name and email address. The perceived value and trade-off is high enough that they go, yeah, I want that checklist. Okay. Easy to consume and get value. Ideally, you want somebody to be able to consume that lead magnet quickly and go, oh, I really appreciate this, right? This is really helpful. All lead magnets, they don't have to be that case, right? Registering for a webinar is not the case, right? That's much more of a commitment, but that's a great lead magnet. Downloading a book is not necessarily easy to consume and get value, but it can still be a great lead magnet and very valuable for those people, even though they have to put more commitment into it. And then positions the prospect for the next step, right? So ideally in your sales process, somebody downloads something, they then get taken to some sort of communication from you that says, hey, if that was helpful for you, this is going to be super helpful for you, right? So it's positioning it for the next step in the sales process. Okay. 3 very effective lead magnet formats when you are marketing services to small businesses. Tools, right? So some sort of template, checklist, audit, resource guide, how-to guide, notes, summaries, case studies that are relevant to their business. Training, okay, webinar, a challenge, a mini course, and then conversations. So even though, I don't know, I think it doesn't seem like the most overly intriguing lead magnet, it is a very, very common one and very effective one to, start a conversation, to learn more, book a strategy call, that type of thing. And more and more what I'm seeing people have a lot of success with, and I think this is really a huge opportunity considering that we're all about to have incredible access to AI chatbots, is messenger chat ads. So, click here to send us a message to get more information, right? I'm seeing people have really, really good success with those right now. Okay, so these are all very effective lead magnet formats that you can take advantage of. And again, over time, as we talk about expansion, today, you may have one of these that you go, yeah, I'm ready to start running this one. Mike's giving me the R4 shook, or I've got a webinar presentation ready, or whatever it is. Awesome. Start with that one. And then what you should look to do over time is to layer on some others. And I'm not saying that you have to have all of these. I'm not saying that you have to have a template, checklist, audit, resource guide, how-to guide. I'm not saying that at all. But I do think that if you have a variety of lead magnet response channels and response commitments, I think that that's a good idea. So what I mean by that is, I'm downloading a checklist. That's just like an easy opt-in. Here's my name, here's my email, give me my dang checklist, like zero commitment. You should be able to get a lot of volume out of that, right? Versus a conversation is somebody that's going to be much more committed, much probably further down the sales funnel in terms of their stage of awareness. So having something like that, as well as that simple tool lead magnet, it's great to have both of those going, because they really are probably targeting different people at different stages in the buying cycle. And so that just gives you more opportunities to get even more people and more types of opportunities in your funnel right away. Okay. And then a training, a webinar, a challenge, or a mini course or something like that, it's more commitment than just downloading a tool or a checklist, obviously. So you're getting, again, somebody who's further along. They're more committed to solving some sort of problem, that they're willing to sign up and come to your mini challenge or webinar. But also at the same time, hey, I'm not in buying mode yet. I'm not ready to get pitched by a salesperson. I don't want to talk to somebody, yet. This is kind of a nice in between. So when we talked in particular yesterday about creating content to match where they are in their buying process, these are actually 3 different examples of lead magnets that hit people at different stages of the buying process and have different mindsets and different awareness. So it's great if over time you say, okay, I've got a tools lead magnet out there that's super dumb simple, and I can get just, high opt-in rates, fast and easy. People are making no commitment to me to get it. They're very top of funnel. Okay. I've got a training out there. It's going to get people that are more mid-funnel. They're more in evaluation stage. Okay. Or consideration stage. And then people who are truly like in evaluation and decision-making phase, they probably want to talk to somebody. I want to give them that option to do so. So by having all 3 of these out there, you can really, kind of cover all your bases. Okay. So, are we okay now? Can we see? You guys are able to see? Oh, okay, never mind. Refresh. All good. Okay, cool. Good. So this is the funnel filler campaign structure. Again, Facebook example, but it applies to most networks. Okay. This one is leads objective. Okay, so we're trying to get leads. We're not trying to just get traffic. We're not trying to just get awareness. We're getting traffic and we're getting awareness just by running these ad campaigns, but we're trying to get leads. Okay, 1 campaign per specific objective. Okay, so what I mean by that is we just talked earlier about how you could have somebody downloading a lead magnet off of your website. We could have somebody starting a messenger conversation in Facebook, and we could have somebody booking a call on your calendar. Okay. I would have different campaigns for each of those. Okay. I would have different campaigns for each of those. So we're separating things out more in this structure. All right. And then I would duplicate for each major lead magnet strategy that you're pursuing: download versus webinar, registration, that type of thing. Okay. So if in website leads is your campaign objective, okay, and you have one website lead campaign is just a simple little checklist lead magnet, and one is a webinar, totally different person, different commitment, that type of thing, I would again do separate campaigns for each of those. Okay, just because they're even though they're both sending people to my website to try and capture them in a form, it's a different enough strategy and a different enough person that I'm going after and getting that I am separating those out so that I have complete control for each of those campaigns. Okay. Campaign settings, no A/B testing. Again, because we're focused on local markets, we're not focused on big budgets and all that type of stuff. I'm not expecting that you're doing a ton of testing. No A/B testing. Yes to Advantage campaign budget again, and a daily budget that you are comfortable with. Ideally, a $20 minimum. Okay, I think is great. But again, whatever budget you're comfortable with. Targeting, and you should keep in mind though, this one's important to keep in mind, that if you are asking for a conversion to happen of any sort, it's going to take more ad spend for Facebook to be able to accomplish that for you. And you're going to have a hard time. If your budget gets small, you're going to start getting alarms from Facebook where it's going to tell you, hey, we think your budget's too small. And that's probably right. I mean, like, you're going to get very, 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 very little activity. If your budget is too small, it's going to be almost non-existent. So, you really do want to try and, get that budget up. Again, $20 minimum, I think is ideal at a minimum. Your first ad set. So we're going to do the same type of targeting that we did previously. We're going to do targeting our geographical area, and we're going to targeting our 10% lookalike audience. Okay. So exact same thing as we did before. At the ad set settings, you're going to choose your conversion location, which I'll show you what that means. That's not referring to like a geographic location. That's referring to, do you want them to convert on your website? Do you want them to convert in a lead form? Do you want them to convert in Facebook Messenger? Okay. Performance goal, maximum number of leads. And again, no dynamic creative. And then at the ad creative level, this is where we've talked earlier. Somebody's asked some questions about, hey, Mike, don't you at least put in some different, headlines and stuff like that? This is where we're going to do that. Okay. When we're creating our ads in these campaigns, I am doing testing here to try and find some winners, but I'm doing it in, again, kind of a lazy, if I'm going for like super data analysis, a less rigorous way, because I just don't have, I don't have a lot of money to spend. It's not worth it to do all this rigorous testing. Okay, so this is, again, a simple setup. These are all simple setups that are designed for low budget local campaigns. Okay, so let's go over to our ad manager and we will set this up. Pretty darn straightforward again. Let's go ahead and go to campaigns. We're going to do create, we're going to do auction. We're going to do leads in this case. Okay. And you can see here, good for instant forms, Messenger and Instagram, conversions and calls. And when you look at conversions, get people to share their contact information, complete a registration form, submit an application, or take another action on your website or app. Okay. So you can see here the different types, right? So if I was going to have somebody fill out an instant form, I would do a different campaign. Okay. Versus if I was trying to have somebody come to my website, I would do those as two separate campaigns, as I was mentioning earlier. Okay. So I do to continue. It says tailored leads campaigns. Okay. This is not something I take advantage of yet. I just do manual setup. So this is, again, letting Facebook take more control over things. For right now, I still do manual setup. New leads campaign. So I'm just going to do leads website conversion. Okay, so something like that. And then I'm going to do those special categories: auctions, leads, no A/B test. I'm going to turn on my Advantage campaign budget. Okay, so if I have multiple ad sets running here, so like the cold traffic to the geographic audience versus my lookalike audience, I would let Facebook determine, hey, Mike, you're doing better with your lookalike audience, so we're going to drive more budget to that. That's why I have the same Advantage campaign budget on, because I'm going to put 2 different ad sets with 2 different targeting options in there. I'm going to go ahead and let Facebook determine which one of those is going to send more traffic to. Okay, so I put my daily budget as to what it is. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next step, which is the ad set. And I'm going to do, let's call this, checklist, download, leads. Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and copy that, and that'll be the name of my ad as well. I'm going to send them to website, and I'll probably change this just in case I'm testing some other options. Make that website leads. Okay. And I'm going to send them to my website, maximize number of conversions. I'm going to select my pixel. Okay. My conversion event is a lead. Okay. Right here. And then I am going to leave all this stuff the same. I leave dynamic creative off. I set my time frame. In my case, in most cases, usually I'm not setting an end date on any of these campaigns. I will just keep an eye on them, and I'll go and turn it off when I'm ready to go turn it off. But I'm not setting an end date. Okay. And I think that that is a best practice. If you set an end date, it will cause Facebook to mess with how they're spending your money, right? Because it'll say, oh, we need to have all the money spent by this time date. So you can get a little bit different performance from Facebook in terms of how they're spending your money, versus if you set no end date, it should kind of smooth things out a little bit. Okay. So I'm doing no end date. Again, I'm going to choose my location. And again, I'm just going to keep it very, very wide open. And, keep it San Diego. And I could, in this particular case, oops. Let me just scroll down here to switch to a original audience. Okay, just like we did before. And then I've got San Diego DMA. This is when I choose the DMA, okay, versus, let's just test this real quick. If I do San Diego and I do the city, okay, if I do the city, then I get the radius control. If I do the DMA, it's advertising to the whole San Diego market, which is North County, San Diego proper, East County, South, and it's just advertising to the whole market. So make sure you're looking at your options there when you're targeting your market. You may have, San Diego City, and then you may have San Diego DMA. So just make sure you know which one you really want to go after there, so you don't accidentally, kind of goof that up. I'm going to set my age range again to 25 to 64. Or whatever that we did before. I think we did 60 before, so I'm just doing the same stuff. Nothing's changing here. Okay. Again, that would have all been a saved audience, so I would have just saved all that time. Okay. I'm leaving Advantage placements on. Okay. I'm going next. And then I'm going to replace this name again to make it consistent, so I'll be able to easily tell it apart if I'm doing some other approach to this in a different campaign or a different ad set. And then, oh, I'm sorry. At this ad set level, I would change this to I would call it like San Diego Public. Okay, is what I do. And then on the on the new ad set, I would call it like San Diego lookalike audience. You know, that just to have the ability to see, okay, that's the ad set targeting my lookalike audience. Just to be able to see that by the name alone just makes it easier when you're going through your reporting to be able to see, oh, okay, which of these audiences is performing better. I can just look at the name in there and be able to see that quickly. Okay. So then at the ad level here, okay, at the ad level, I got my ad preview on. In this particular case, right, I am going to manually upload my creatives. And if I'm doing single image or video, which most of the time that's what I'm doing for a lead gen campaign in particular, I'm turning off this multi-advertiser ads, okay? And I am just gonna start uploading images and videos, okay? And so I put whatever I want in here, and then I've got my text, right, that I'm writing in here. So this is where I can do the multiple text options, okay? So you can see right here, it's pretty nice. I preloaded these from my previous ads. So I can just go ahead and say, boom, I'm gonna do that one. That's an old one, digitalmarketinglab.io. But that's my first one, and then I've got my second one. So I can add another text option in here, okay? And go boom, hit that. So now I've got multiple text options running, and then I can write multiple headlines. Boom. Multiple headlines. Boom. Multiple headlines. Boom. They've made this nice and easy for us, okay? So I've got these multiple headlines. I can do this for all of this stuff. For me personally, I do headline and image pretty much all the time. So I'm putting in 3 to 5 different images, 3 to 5 different headlines. And then for my primary text, I'm usually doing 1 or 2. That's it. I usually don't write a ton of different variations of this. I just do 1 or 2 in there. But now this is giving us the ability to create some more ad variations that are going to get tested. Okay. So, oh yeah, absolutely, Brittany. Prime the Pump works with local media folks as well. Absolutely. Okay. And then you're going to put in your destination URL, of course, right here. Okay. And then in this particular case, people see your website when they tap on your ad. You can add an additional contact method. So I am not doing that. That's relatively new for me. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing languages. Tracking. I'm picking my pixel. Okay. And that is it. You can choose call to action that you want to choose, but that is it. So I am now, as you can see what I did though, I created one ad set and one ad technically, but really what I've created is a variety of ads because I've got these different options in here, right? And so now if I do, let's put some images up in here. This one. So now what you can see is it says, okay, which one of these, do you want to crop these for different placements? And so I'm going to say, yes, I do want to crop these for different placements. But I'm going to look at whatever it recommends. It actually recommends the original for all these. I could check and see if I'd rather do it 1-to-1, but I wouldn't because it cuts off the copy or the image. So I'm going to keep my original. I could do the same. Actually, it won't even let me here. Keep it there. This one I could change it. Doesn't make much of a difference. Maybe I'll go ahead and change it because it fills up the space a little bit better. Good enough. Okay. I'm going to hit next. This optimize section is actually something I am doing more of, and I think it's absolutely something that you can mess around with. You can see here that what it's doing is it's giving you these optimization options where it's saying, hey, based on what you're putting together here, we think that this ad is going to do better if you do some of these things. So this one, it's missing 3% lower cost result, and it is to vary the aspect ratio, do text combinations. So if I click on all optimizations here, standard enhancements. It's going to just do some modifications to the ad. I can put an image filter on here, which is going to change the look of the ad just a little bit. I can add music. This is the one that I'm doing the most of, is just adding a little music to my ad. So, not that music, because that was weird. But, you can go in here and customize and get some different ad. These are all just modifications that Facebook is saying, hey, look, according to our data and looking at the ad that you put together, we think that it's going to do better if you do some of these basic enhancements. And I definitely, for the music, I think that that is definitely true. I am always very aware that some people are audio focused much more than they are visual focused. And so if I'm just uploading an image and there's no audio, it's not a video of mine, I'm just uploading an image, I will more often now turn on some music. So when people are flipping through it, they get caught by sound. Okay. So you've got, some options here to play with. And again, without a bunch of split testing, we don't know exactly which is right or wrong. And for these local ads, spending this much money, I'm not focused on that. I'm using my judgment, and I'm kind of listening to Facebook's direction here as well. Okay. So now when I get done, you can see how this is going to show up in all of these different formats. So you can say, hey, how's this going to look as a reel? Okay, that's cool. Right. And again, even if I'm not sure that I think that that's the best looking thing in the world, Facebook is going to be testing, and it's going to be driving traffic to the one that's getting the best response. And so if my Facebook feed ad is the one getting all the response, then that one should get all the budget and traffic as well. Okay. So that is how we set up our lead gen campaign. And again, cold traffic lead gen campaign, if you get to the point, okay, so let me just stress this. I have a complete testing approach in my local attention engine campaign strategy. So if you get this up and running, and then you find, hey, Mike, I'm making some progress. I was only spending $20 a day, but now I'm looking to crank that up to, $100 a day. Now we're talking about $3,000 a month. And I've got this one lead magnet that's really our bread and butter lead magnet, and it's working really well for us. Then I would get into my full local attention engine course and look at the testing process and go through that testing process. Because now you've kind of settled in on this 1, 2, or 3 lead magnets or whatever it is, and you want to try and drive as much traffic to them, and you're willing to spend thousands of dollars a month on those campaigns. Now it can deserve some testing. So now you can go through that full testing process. But if you're not there, if you're like, man, Mike, I can spend $300 a month on this sucker. Like I can't do more. Don't bother with all the testing stuff. Do what I just did here. You just loaded in a bunch of tests. You just created a bunch of tests. By putting in all these different images and headlines and stuff, Facebook's going to do a bunch of testing for you. Is it perfect? No. But at $300 a month, you don't have budget to be perfect. Okay. So that is the lead generation campaign setup. Again, nice and easy, very similar to what we did with the prime the pump. It's just now we're doing it for lead conversion. Okay. That's pretty much it. And I say pretty much because what I didn't show you there was how to set up a lookalike audience. But once you have your lookalike audience set up, everything else is exactly the same. You're just choosing your lookalike audience to target instead of a cold audience. And then the other thing that I didn't show you here is, let's say you wanted to set up a messenger conversion ad instead of a website conversion ad. Okay. There are going to be, a little bit of differences there because the conversion location is messenger. So it's going to ask you for some more information to complete the creation of that ad. But once you go through and you get that done once, it's Again, it's just gonna repeat that over and over again. Okay. Yes, they add music to a static image. Yep. And in a lot of cases now, they will actually turn your static images. So let's say you upload like 3 images into a carousel. They'll turn that into a little video for you. And that is almost always a good idea. If you don't have a video, load up the images, load up some copy, and let them create a video for you. It's almost always going to perform better. Okay. Would it be a good idea to run a lead gen ad to an on-demand class that goes over the R4? Absolutely, Jonathan. Yes, absolutely. Please do. Yep. Cool. Okay. So let's see here. We have covered now 2 out of the 3. Any more questions on that? Just let me know. Just keep the questions coming. Okay. I want to keep moving so we can get you out of here at a reasonable time. So let me go back to my presentation. So that was the funnel filler campaign. So now we have essentially handled our cold traffic campaigns. We've got our brand building campaigns that are primarily that very top of funnel. Okay. And then we've got our lead magnet campaign, our funnel filler, which is going after our people who are, ready a little bit more down the funnel, a little bit more ready to take at least a little bit of action. They're aware of the problem. They're looking for some solutions, whether that solution to them is just a checklist from now or hopping on a call with somebody, right? We've now got some lead capture options out there as well. So we got prime the pump, we got funnel fillers, we're building brand, we're capturing leads. All right. We're off to a good start. Last piece of the puzzle then is the relationship bridge. Okay. There is 0 scenario, particularly if you go back through the metrics portion of the presentations that we've done here over the last 2 days, and you consider that time span of when somebody buys and how long it can take them from being a lead to a purchase and all that good stuff, there is 0 chance that any of this makes sense to do if you don't also have a follow-up process in place, a remarketing process in place, right? To build that relationship, to keep that attention, and to nurture your audience. There is 0 case where it makes sense to go spending a bunch of money on cold traffic ads and not have a follow-up plan in place. Okay? So that's what we're going to put in place for the relationship bridge. 3 goals: keep their attention, create that first position relationship, and then create sales-ready leads, because we are letting people come through largely at their own pace. They are reading our content. They are consuming our videos. They have been doing that for 3 months and we didn't even know it. And then they show up one day and go, "Hey, Mike, I'm really pretty much ready to buy. I got some questions for you," right? And that happens. That happens all the time once you've been doing this for a while. This morning, I woke up this morning, very first thing this morning, 5 a.m., first thing, I have a message in high level in my conversations tab from somebody saying, "Hey, Mike, I'm ready to buy. I've been, going through your videos and stuff. I have these questions." Great. Answer those questions. Boom. So that's somebody that has been consuming the content, pulling themselves through my funnel without me even having a slight clue that they're doing that, because I'm following up with them using this process, right? And now they're coming to me ready to buy. That's our goal. And again, the more that you create that top of funnel breadth and depth, the more that starts to happen. And it feels like freaking magic the first time it does. I can remember so clearly the first time at Everon that we got an inbound lead from somebody saying, "Yeah, we've been getting your newsletter and we're looking to hire an MSP." And at that time, the phrase MSP did not exist. We started using it to describe our service model. And so when they called in and used our language on us, we were like, bing, because it was like, oh my gosh, this company has been out there consuming so much of our content that they're using our language to talk to us. right? It was like this crazy light bulb moment. And that changed our business forever because we were like, more content, more ads, more content, more ads. Get it out there, get it out there, get it out there, right? Because other than that, all we were doing was hardcore cold calling. And so when somebody calls you and says, I'm ready to buy, and they're using your language, it feels like, well, that was the easiest damn thing that's ever happened, right? So that felt good. So that will feel good to you too. How do we do this? 2 primary vehicles, a newsletter and retargeting ads. Okay, you got to have a newsletter. You got to have a newsletter. I'll say it again. You got to have a newsletter. You got to send that thing regularly, ideally weekly, ideally at least weekly, I would say. I mean, you could send a newsletter 3 times a week if you wanted to, but I think weekly is good. No less than monthly. It pains me to think that you would only send a newsletter once a month. Again, for whatever reason, you think it's too hard, too much time. I don't agree with you at all, and it's probably just a matter of process, and I can help you with that. But if you are creating content regularly, your newsletter should be damn easy. All you do is you take that content and then just put it in the newsletter too, right? All the content that you've been sharing as blog posts and videos and stuff, you just put that in a newsletter and send people the exact same content. It's not like everybody's been seeing your content, right? So you send the newsletter with the exact same stuff, and ideally, you're including some sort of offer and some sort of testimonial in that newsletter as you get testimonials. Wouldn't it be nice if every newsletter that goes out, you've got some content, you've got an offer. That offer could just be, schedule a strategy call, that type of thing. Come to our next webinar, whatever it is. And then some sort of testimonial from somebody who's using your services. Perfect newsletter. Okay? You got to have a newsletter. There's zero case, again, where it makes sense not to have a newsletter. When you look at the cost of nurturing those prospects in any other way, a newsletter is absolutely the most affordable, absolutely the most effective, right? You got to do it. So have a newsletter, okay? And then retargeting ads. I know retargeting ads have had their controversy or debate about their usefulness because of iOS 14 at the time. We're now at 17, right? I just downloaded 17 this morning and installed 17 this morning. So we're now at 17, but the debate still rages on as to whether or not, it makes sense because Apple changed this and Apple changed that. Retargeting ads still absolutely work, okay? Run your retargeting ads. They still absolutely work. In fact, in some cases, I feel like they're working even better now. The reason I say that is just because I feel like, gosh, now it's like when I go visit somebody's website, I feel like all of a sudden, boom, 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 I'm getting hit with retargeting ads where I'm just like, wow, that was obvious, right? So use retargeting ads, okay? And the retargeting campaign structure that I'm going to share with you is super damn easy because it's almost the exact same stuff that we've been doing previously, okay? So first is your funnel filler campaigns, okay? Your funnel filler campaigns that we just went through, right? The lead gen campaigns, run the exact same campaigns targeting your retargeting audience. You don't have to change a dang thing. Run the exact same campaigns going after your retargeting audience, okay? Because clearly, not everybody has already seen, your lead gen campaigns. So some people came to your website and read your blog post, but they haven't seen the lead gen campaign yet. So send them that lead gen campaign and just exact same thing. You don't have to change a thing. So I'm not even going to go through that campaign structure again because literally it's the exact same thing that we just did, except for now you're going to choose the retargeting audience to target. That's it. It's the only difference. Copy your stuff, right? And then just target the retargeting audience, okay? And then there's what I call my Blitzkrieg remarketing campaign. And again, that's an entire course that's out there that, if you want to get like in the nitty gritty of it and stuff like that, but this one's super simple. You really don't need to get into any nitty gritty other than what I'm going to show you here today, okay? This is a campaign. It's very similar to the Prime the Pump. Okay, very similar in the way that it's structured and stuff like that. But the objective this time is a reach objective. So we're trying to get this campaign, we're trying to get the content of this campaign seen by everybody in our retargeting audience as much as we can. Okay? So just to make sure everybody's aware of how Facebook advertising works, if you choose a conversion objective and you choose a lead conversion objective, Facebook targets specific people in your overall audience that are most likely to become leads. Okay, there are certain people out there that are more likely to opt into stuff than others. Facebook knows this because it can see all the data. So if you're targeting 1 million people, Facebook says, yeah, but these 10,000 are most likely to be leads. So we're going to show your campaigns to these 10,000. Okay? With reach, the campaign objective, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get this ad in front of everybody on my retargeting audience. And I want to get my ad in front of everybody on my retargeting audience. If you have taken the time already to come and visit my website or watch one of my videos, as far as I'm concerned, you are qualified enough now that I want to make sure that my ads and content are getting to you, darn it, right? So I don't want Facebook deciding to only show it to 10% of the audience. I want it to show it to the whole audience. And that's what the reach objective does. It says, just show these ads to everybody, Facebook. Don't narrow my audience. Again, because it's a retargeting audience, I want to show it to everybody. Okay? So that's why we're doing a reach objective. And then in this campaign, because this is about relationship building now, okay? We're going to do our content in there just like we did before. So we have a new blog post and things like that. We're going to put that in there just like we did with the prime and the pump. Okay? We're going to show people more of our content, okay? But we are also going to add more of this relationship building content that is designed to, again, this is called the relationship bridge. It's designed now, while we've got their attention, to try to add some more depth to that attention and to that relationship, okay? And so I'll show you what I'm referring to here in terms of content, okay? So again, we've got this content blitzkrieg where we are going to show them, hey, here are the types of content that are going to continue to demonstrate our expertise and all that stuff, just like the prime and the pump. But remember, the prime and the pump was going to cold audiences. So we're going to take that exact same approach, though, but to our retargeting audience, because we want to make sure that they're continuing to see our smart content. Okay? So then, in addition, though, we're going to add in a few things. So one is this 4 stories framework. And again, I'm going to stress to you guys right now, get the campaign set up, get one piece of content in there, okay? And then there's this whole expand part of this course, which is essentially the end of this course, which just means, hey, when we're talking about creating a new piece of content each week, create one of these pieces of content each week, okay? Start with your origin story. Launch your campaign. A week from now, get your purpose story done. Add that to the campaign. Then get your positioning story done. Add that to the campaign, okay? So we're just layering on additional things. So you don't have to get all this done at once to get started. Just get one thing done and get the structure set up, okay? But these 4 stories are the stories that are going to appeal to somebody now that's a little further down in the funnel, okay? Now I'm starting to do some consideration of who could solve my problem for me. Now I'm starting to do some evaluation of this service provider versus that service provider. This is the type of content that's going to help win somebody who's in that position, okay? Telling your origin story, okay? People love the origin story of your business. Let me hear about your struggles. Let me hear about your reason why you started this, right? And get to know you a little bit. Purpose story, again, in this case, then diving more into why you started, what this is all about, why is being a business owner important to you, right? Why are you like the people that you're trying to serve? Hey, I'm a business owner too. I'm a small business owner. I love this stuff. And I love helping other small business owners in my community thrive, right? I love my community. I want to help my community grow and be healthy. And small businesses are the foundation of that. When you're out there telling that story, I had somebody the other day, this is a true story just from the other day. I had a potential vendor call up their San Diego, called me up as their San Diego, and is talking to me. And he said, "Hey, Mike, I just want to let you know too that I, did some research on you, and he's found services that scale, and he found leverage and all that type of stuff." And he goes, "I just wanted to say thanks. I think it's awesome what you're doing to try and help small business owners and entrepreneurs grow a healthy business." And I was like, that's badass. Like this person, again, went and found my content and said, oh, there's more to this guy than just the typical advertising option in San Diego. Like there's something else here. And that's going to help me win, right? It's going to help me win with that person's business. So people want to connect with your story. They want to understand who you are. They want to understand what you're all about more than ever. More than ever. Okay, your positioning story is why you are different from the competition. So clearly laying out, hey, what we do is we leverage automation systems, right? And layer campaign strategies on top of that to be able to create a solution for our small business customers that takes advantage of automation to keep costs low, but still get consistent results. Unlike traditional agencies that are using more expensive talent to create creative campaigns that oftentimes don't work and you don't know it until you've already spent the money, we're putting proven systems in place to get consistent performance. And so we're able to do it leveraging technology at a much lower price point than those agencies, right? So you're telling your story about why you're different so that as we're going through this evaluation process, we have something to make decisions about, right? Versus just, oh, this looks like another agency versus another agency. And then transformation stories are essentially case studies, testimonials, things like that, right? That we can try and use other people's experience with us to help make the case for us. So this is the type of content, again, that builds that relationship with your prospect that you then want to make sure that you have baked into the new campaign that you're creating so that you can have more depth as somebody is coming through that sales process. Okay? 4 stories. I have templates for how to create those 4 stories that we will put inside of the membership area. I know many of you already have those, but we'll put those in there as well. Okay? So that's an example of the type of content that you're going to have in the Blitzkrieg campaign that makes it unique. Okay? It's more of that relationship building content. Okay? So in this particular campaign structure, it's an awareness objective, which I'll show you. It's awareness and then reach. So awareness is the actual campaign objective name now. It's no longer reach, but then you can choose reach in there. I'll show you again just a second. Campaign settings, no A/B testing. Yes, advantage campaign budget. Daily budget you're comfortable with, ideally $10 minimum. This is a retargeting campaign. The audience isn't going to be very big, especially when you're starting. So usually just spending $10 a day is plenty, and you probably won't even spend that $10 a day for a while until your audience gets big enough to justify it. Okay? Ad set settings, maximize reach, no dynamic creative, no end date. So we're going to let these things roll. Okay? We're going to let these things roll. Except for the blog posts that you're doing, the blog posts that you're sharing, like Prime the Pump strategy, those you'll put an end date on, like a month or whatever. But your positioning story, your testimonials, things like that, you'll just let those servers run forever. Okay? Advantage plus placements, again. And then remember when we did that ad set spending limit? On this, you're going to want to make sure that you do that. You're going to want to make sure that you set a minimum for each of those pieces of content, because you don't want those testimonials to disappear, right? The reality is that your testimonial ad is probably not going to get clicked on nearly as much as some other ads. And so Facebook may decide to start minimizing that, but you don't want that. You want that testimonial ad to be shown, even if it's not getting clicks, even if it's not going to be ROI positive technically. You want testimonials out there being seen. You want case studies out there being seen, even if all it's doing is sinking into their brain momentarily, a prospect's brain momentarily. Oh, I just saw another ad from Howard saying the success that he had with this roofer or plumber or whatever. Like, even if that's all it was just a momentary flash in my brain that I just saw that again. That's a win. That's an advertising win for you. Okay. Again, don't be so ROI obsessed on every piece of content and every ad that you shoot yourself in the foot, right? Even if nobody's clicking on the damn testimonial, the fact that you're seeing the testimonial is a win, right? It's a win for my brand. It's a win for my authority. It's proof. Okay. Keep it running. So you're going to want to put that ad set spending limit minimum in place so that Facebook doesn't completely turn anything off. Okay. And then targeting, you've got a retargeting audience that you're going to target. That should include all website visitors, social followers, content engagers. Put all of those people into your retargeting audience. Okay. Anybody who's consumed any of your content, put them in there, right? Because they've engaged. We want to hit those people again. Add creative. For each ad that you're putting in place, you could put for each ad set, that you're putting in place, you could put 3 to 5 different ads in there and put a variety of headlines and images and stuff. Because what's going to happen, because we're leaving this campaign on and running, we want to have a variety of assets in there so that Facebook can continue to show some different variety to people over time. So we don't get just like total banner blindness from somebody who's been in our audience for a while and they're seeing the same stuff every single time. This gives Facebook the ability to rotate between some of those assets and show some new stuff to people over time. Okay. So that is generally how we're going to set up this structure. And let me go over to our ad manager and we'll set that up. Let me just see questions. Jonathan said, oh no, I'm sorry, I already answered that one. Found Online Solution says those messenger ads can go right into Go High Level. Yes. And with the new chatbot technology, that's awesome. It's really awesome. The new AI chatbot. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and create one here and we're going to call it, and we're going to go for awareness. Okay. Awareness objective. And hit continue. And then we can create, our relationship bridge. And we call that reach, right? Relationship bridge, reach. And then we're going to go down here, campaign objective, awareness. We're all set. Campaign spending limit. I'm not going to put anything there. No A/B test. Yes. Advantage campaign budget. Okay. Daily budget. Just going to put 15 in here. And then we're going to do next. Go ahead and call this relationship bridge, reach, and then this would be like, testimonial 1. Okay. So do that and then maximize the reach of the ads. Okay. So here, this is where you say reach. So I could do number of impressions or ad recall lift. The default though is reach, and you want to make sure that you are using reach. Okay. Got services that scale, dynamic creative, leave that off. You're going to, again, for your evergreen pieces of content like testimonials and stuff, no end date. If you were putting in a blog post that you want to share for a month, you put in an end date. Okay. Your audience is really going to be controlled by the retargeting audience that you're going after. So let's switch to original audience options here. And then we could do a saved audience right here. And we'll have our retargeting audience. And it's actually, hold on, let me think. Is retargeting audiences? Yeah, it's different than saved audiences. So you're going to find your retargeting audience right here. So you can see our custom audiences, and you're going to pull down your, so like you can see right here, here's all Instagram visitors for the last 90 days. Here's all website visitors for the last 90 days, right? So you're going to have your retargeting audience. I've got more of them in here because I've done more aggressive advertising in times. You don't need to have all those retargeting audiences. You just have one, okay? But you're going to pick your retargeting audience. Once you pick your retargeting audience, you know, you could still, you know, choose your geography and stuff here as well if you want to, because theoretically somebody could have visited your site from Australia, you know, and you know, you don't want to target them for whatever reason. So you could go ahead and choose your geographies and stuff here. If you're just like, nope, I just sell in San Diego, that's it. Go ahead and choose that again here. Okay. And then you can leave on your advantage placements again. We go to next, and then you're just going to build your piece of content here. Whether your piece of content was selecting a post from your Facebook page. I'm gonna go ahead and put the ad name in there. Okay, and so like if there was a post that I was promoting, then I would just do that here. Just select my post. Okay, just like we did before. Or if I'm creating a post from scratch, then I'm going to go ahead and hit create post. Oh, I'm sorry. That's creating a post. Sorry. I'm going to do create ad. Okay. So if I'm creating an ad here, I'm going to go ahead and hit create ad. I'm going to put my creative in here just like we did before. No different. Okay. Exact same thing that we did in our last setup example. So I'm going to go ahead and put in, you know, a variety of different media and stuff like that in there, so that I can have some options for Facebook to present, right? So I'm going to turn this multi-advertiser off. I'm going to go ahead and just do edit media. In this particular case, I'm doing edit media, but if I was starting from scratch, I would just be putting in new stuff in. Okay. We did add music here. Here's primary text. I can choose to put in a variety of options here. And then we can do hold on one second. Group, create ad. Let me just start over from scratch. I'm going to do remove all real quick. I'm going to do, okay, so here's my text options. Here's my, yep. Cool. Here's my add image or video. Go ahead and hit image. Okay. I've got the different, so in this case, I've got a whole lot of, essentially a whole bunch of ads running, right? Because I've got 11 placements here, 5 placements here. So I can get in here and like really, you know, take a look at each of these. And you can see here, this is where I can do this turn into a video. Okay. And I can also test and add some different, you know, primary text options in here. So you can get in here and make sure that these all really fit the way that you want it. So like, maybe I don't want this as my image. Maybe I do. Maybe I like that, you know, no sass thing, but I could crop the image here, could change the image. I can do this, turn it into a video, which is pretty stinking cool. So it'll just do like some basic video functionality for you, just to make sure that there's motion to your ad and stuff like that. But you know, you can go in here and kind of edit each particular setting as much as you want to make sure that these ads look exactly how you would want them to look. So you can, like I said, you're essentially launching a ton of different ads by putting in these different variations and by letting Facebook here at the ad set level do the Advantage Plus placements. So you're going to get a lot of coverage. You're going to get a lot of bang for your buck with these ads because you're going to be reaching people everywhere. Okay? You're going to be reaching people all over the place. So even though you don't have a ton of budget, it's going to feel like and look like in a lot of ways like you do have a ton of budget because you've got stuff just running all over the place. Okay? So that's how you set up the relationship bridge. Again, the relationship bridge is super simple, very much like Prime the Pump. We are just targeting though our retargeting audience, okay? And we're setting a reach objective. And then we're adding this additional content that is about relationship building, right? It's about those testimonials and the purpose story and all that type of stuff to try and add depth to that relationship. Okay? That is the third campaign strategy. Christy said, gotta go, catch you later. That's awesome. So that is the third strategy, campaign strategy. And that brings us to our conclusion, essentially. It brings us to the last step of all this is now just to expand what you're doing with this over time. Okay? You're just going to layer in new pieces of content, layer in new ads. You're going to look at the data every few months, especially since you're targeting a local audience. It's not that big. So every few months, you're going to make sure, okay, let's do some refreshes of stuff here. You know, let's just make sure I'm taking advantage of some different images or updating some of my messages because some things in the marketplace have changed, right? So that people aren't just seeing the exact same thing for too long. But that's pretty much it, because the nature of the system is getting refreshed pretty much all the time anyway, because you're taking your new content and loading it in there, right? So this campaign structure, I'm not kidding you. Like the entire year, I've got it set up, and then I just go in and plop in new content and hit go, plop in new content, hit go. That's it. And like I said, I can have any intern do that for me. You know, my daughter's about to start working for me as part of her school, work program. She's going to be doing these ads for me. She's going to be, just following the routine, right? So it's simple. It's simple, which means all of us can and should be doing it. And when you do, you're going to see that audience growing. You're going to see the leads growing. You're going to see your opportunity pipeline getting bigger and bigger, and that sense of momentum at your business, because we've focused now on, remember, day one, that lead velocity, right? We're getting more people into that pipeline, and it's growing and it's expanding. That lead velocity is the right? It's the leading metric to sales. And it's the leading metric to us having control over our business, because again, we're a service business. We don't want to work with everybody. We have the ability now to say no to the bad deals because we've got enough good deals in our pipeline. It's going to take us some time to get there. I'm not saying this is overnight, of course. We're not spending very much money on our ads and stuff here, right? So don't expect that this is just an overnight miracle. This is that solid foundation that you're building every single day. $10 of advertising at a time, $20 of advertising at a time. Okay? That is the end of Bootcamp. There are all kinds of resources we're going to put into the membership area for you. And I have a couple of follow-up pieces of content that I'm going to create for you and put in there as well. That we've covered plenty in these presentations, so I'm not gonna try and do it here. Awesome, thank you, Dwayne, appreciate it. So I got a couple of follow-on pieces of content I'll record and put in there just to make sure, like I say, you know how to put lookalike audiences in place. I'm going to put some resources for you in terms of tracking your metrics and setting goals for your activities. My visual marketing calendar, my visual scorecard are so stinking important and helpful to keep you on track so that you have those specific marketing objectives that you're working to every day. Okay. And then it's just a process, gang. It's just a process that you just got to commit to, and just whether it's cold outbound prospecting or it's creating content and running these ads, or it's both, that you're going to do it for the next 3 months, 90 days, 100 days, whichever you want to choose there. Okay. And just commit to, you're going to put your head down and follow the process. If at the end of that time period, you feel like you need to do something else, okay, I don't think that will be the case. But you don't know until you commit to it and give it a chance to work. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Larita. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in here. Len and I look forward to implementing. Probably also go back and rewatch as needed. Awesome. Yes, definitely. Please do. Powerful stuff to help us transition from full service to SaaS. Yes. Looking forward to seeing you guys do it. All right. Any other questions? Let me know. You're welcome, Lisa. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the boot camp. Again, Moguls, we got more boot camps coming up. We've got our content creation boot camp, boot camp coming up here pretty soon. We're going to have our business planning boot camp, our growth planning boot camp before the end of the year. I know that I think it was Brittany said she just went through that again before coming to this one. We're going to do that before the end of the year. So we've got a few boot camps here before the end of the year that we're going to do these deep dives to try and give you the full process of how we're doing things, so that you can take it and put it into your business as well. So make sure that you're keeping an eye on the calendar and getting those boot camps on your calendar. And give me, please, any feedback on this approach. I would love it. Again, I moved to this boot camp style this quarter because I wanted to be able to give you depth and have, and I also want to make sure I'm not taking up all your time on calls. So these are 2 days concentrated. We're getting depth. We're on here quite a bit, but then now you've got a period of time here where you don't have to come to any calls unless you want to come to office hours, ask questions, things like that. I'm doing this as a test to see, hey, does this depth, is this, helping you? Is that what you want? Seems like good response so far, but please let me know your feedback, because I'm making these changes to just try and make Moguls as valuable as I can. Okay. That's the whole goal. So, keep me posted. Okay. Awesome. Thank you again so much, everybody. I'm going to let you go. Have a fantastic rest of your day, fantastic rest of your week. I will get everything loaded up into the membership area, and I will post everything letting you know that here in the next 24 hours. Okay. Thank you, everybody. We'll talk to you here real soon. And let's see, I guess in AI stuff, there was content creation strategy itself. Will there be a boot camp on that? Yes. Yes. That will be in that content boot camp I have coming up. Yep. Okay. Awesome, everybody. Take care, and we will talk to you here real soon. All right. Bye-bye.